Good morning. Good morning.
Your annual skin cancer exam is covered by Medicare. Dr. Mendez also takes most other insurances. Steve KANE recently
Good
had his
morning.
annual skin cancer checkup. It was easy breezy. Dr. Mendez examined him from head to toe, took off a few things, and now Steve is good to go. Call Dr. Mendez right now at 954-431-7681.
Good morning, everyone.
954-431-7681. When you call, make sure to ask for Sarah. She takes extra good care of Steve KANE listeners and will get you an appointment fast. Early detection of skin cancer can save your life. Call Dr. Mendez right now.
Good morning, everyone.
431-7681. 954-431-7681.
This is Steve KANE. When it comes to looking your best, sometimes you need a little extra help. Dr. Nathan at the Nathan Clinic is a renowned plastic surgeon here in South Florida.
Good morning. Good morning.
Beautiful self.
Yes, we're here live.
Knows how to reveal your inner beauty and make you look your absolute best. He's a board-certified plastic surgeon. People come from miles around just because of his extraordinary skills and his caring bedside manner. Dr. Nathan performs breast augmentation,
Welcome, welcome.
facelift, Botox, Botox, liposuction, and much, much more.
Oh boy, I tell you, another week. Liberals still at their crap.
He has years of experience and impressive credentials that make Dr. Nathan the only plastic surgeon you need visit. Will advise.
Hey Gary, make sure you guys subscribe.
You will always remain true to who you are.
Make sure everyone subscribes.
No charge consultation by calling 305 area code 680-5121. That's area code 305-680-5121 or online at drnathan.com. Tell them you heard it on the Steve KANE Show.
Hey guys, are you losing your hair? Stop hair loss in its tracks and call Dr. Mitch Matez for a free consultation. Talk to him about hormone replacement therapy. Hormone replacement therapy will stop hair loss in its tracks, and the hair you have left will grow in thicker and fuller. Stop your hair loss and call Dr. Matez, 561-953-5490, 561-953-5490. Online at hormonetherapy.bocaRaton.com.
The Steve KANE Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel.
Yes. Make sure everyone subscribes. Here we go.
Probate with a revocable living trust. $350 for single people, $450 for married couples. When you complete your trust with Attorney Barry Siegel, he will give you a $100 gift certificate to Tavolino Italian Restaurant in Coral Springs.
Welcome.
The Siegel Law Group, with 9 offices in South
Here we go.
Florida, including
Live.
Boca Raton, Plantation, and Coral Springs. Call 1-855-FLA-3782. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
The Steve KANE Show is live in Mobile Drive, 6 till 9 a.m. weekdays, and overnight,
Definitely.
6 a.m., 7 nights a week. To call the show toll.
Yes. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. I'm Brian. I'm going to be here with you all alone today. Steve not coming in today. So I'll be here all alone 2 days before Christmas. Oh, boy. Yeah, we are here live. It is Monday, December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas. We'll be here today and tomorrow, off for Christmas, and then back on Friday. I think I'm going to take the day off after. I haven't 100% decided yet, but I think I'm going to take the day off after Christmas. I think I deserve it. Do you guys think I deserve a day off? The thing about the day after Christmas, it's hanging over you all day if you got to work the next day on Christmas. And at Christmas, you want to stay up late, have fun, hang out with friends, hang out with family. You can't do that if you got to get up at 3 in the morning to be on the radio the next day. So I'll probably be off the day after Christmas. Welcome. So much going on. So much to talk about. So I go on Twitter this morning as I'm doing my show prep, and I see the trending hashtags, which I really don't pay a lot of attention to the trending hashtags. The Twitter mob out there is always pushing this on you. They're always pushing that on you. You're supposed to feel this way. And I saw one, and it kind of caught my attention. Kremlin Kevin. And what is this, this Red Scare? What is this about, Kremlin Kevin? So I clicked it, and it has this audio of Kevin McCarthy, Republican from California, and he's talking about the spy operation on President Trump. Let me play this for you. This interview, this was on Fox over the weekend with Maria Bartoloma, who likes to wear clothing with her boobs hanging out like Marilyn Monroe singing the President Kennedy when she's at the Catholic thing in New York. But this is Marie Bartoloma with Kevin McCarthy, and this little clip is why Kremlin Kevin is trending all over the Twitter.
Well, if you pause for one moment and you read this IG report by Horowitz, here's the FBI. They broke into President Trump at the time, candidate Trump's campaign, spied on him, and then they covered it up. It is a modern-day Watergate. And you've got Democrats who aren't willing to even look into that. That is the area that we should be looking at. It's a modern-day coup, the closest this country's ever came to, but the only way you can compare this to is Watergate. They broke into his campaign by bringing people into it. They have been trying to cover it up for the whole time. Now the question rises, just like Watergate, who knew, when did they know it, and how high did this go up?
Okay, so that's all. Said something, Kevin McCarthy said something we've known for a while. It's being investigated. Durham has asked for private emails of Brennan, former director of the CIA, who was CIA director at the time of this illegal spying on President Trump's home and presidential campaign offices. And that clip has inspired the hashtag Kremlin Kevin. So I click it on. You can do this yourself. And I clicked this on just a couple minutes ago. This is the top tweets for Kremlin Kevin. And a lot of them have that video. Sometimes it's altered with him dressed as Pinocchio and things as he's talking. Here's one. Hashtag Kremlin Kevin. Hashtag Moscow Mitch. This is disgusting. They look us in the eye and lie to us. They attack our FBI. It's as if they got trained in Russia, besides receiving Russian money. Are there mandatory online KGB courses for Republican legislators that we don't know about? And then here's another one with Putin holding a bag of money, and behind him is Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy. It's a meme. The only thing easier to buy in America than a gun is a Republican. I know, it's crazy. Here's another tweet. Excuse me, but hashtag Kremlin Kevin needs to be charged or changed to Kremlin Steve. Now they got Steve Scalise, I guess. Is he going to be? I don't know what that means. Who's Steve? Kremlin Kevin received donations via Russian funds. McCarthy has a lot of explaining to do. And they got some story here. You know, it just goes on and on. You know, this is insane to me that, you know, my entire life I've grown up hearing about the Red Scare that Joe McCarthy is responsible for. And, you know, Joe McCarthy was right on a lot of accounts. There's no doubt about it. He got a little crazy and freaky at the end and had a meltdown. But the left have always been attacking Republicans and Joe McCarthy, McCarthyism, the Red Scare, and you know, they've made plays about it on Broadway. They've made movies about it. Which play is about the McCarthy witch hunts? Anyone know? Anyone know? Any millennials know? And now they're the ones doing the Red Scare. Anyone who disagrees and stands up to the left is now on the payroll of the Kremlin. And even Chris Wallace on Fox News Sunday was talking about Russian interference into the election. What Russian interference into the election? I want to know what the Russians did that changed Hillary Clinton votes to Donald Trump votes. I'd like to know. I keep hearing people talk about Russian interference. You know, there's this constant undermining the legitimacy of President Trump's presidency. And that's what this is all about. They want to question it. And any time the Democrats lose an election, this is not new. The Democrats always pull this. When Democrats lose an election, it's always because of some other factor. In 2000, blacks were disenfranchised, they lied about and told us. Right? Now it's Russian interference. Of course, when the Democrats win a presidential election, and sadly they will win, we will have a Democrat president at some point in the future. I hope it's a long time from now, long after I'm around. But that all of a sudden, that election will be fair and free and no interference. But every election they lose, is going to be interference, illegitimate, disenfranchised voters. This is what they do. And this hashtag, Kremlin Kevin, it's in my recommended hashtags on the, they got Mr. Robot finale. There's a new season of Mr. Robot that I don't know about. Mr. Robot season 1 was very good. After that, I didn't know what the hell was going on. I think it was like unscripted improvising. From that point, I did not know there was more Mr. Robot. I got to check that out. That's trending too, right underneath Kremlin Kevin. Think about that. Kremlin Kevin is trending over the Mr. Robot finale. But the thing about hashtags, in particular trending hashtags are one of the biggest manipulations going on in not just American society, but in global society, because we really don't know how these hashtags become trending. I think a lot of them are sponsored, because this one even tells me the number one trending hashtag on my Twitter today is Jedi Fallen Order, and it tells us it's promoted by EA Star Wars, EA's expanded universe. And I do remember during the Trump campaign that I heard one of the reporters following Trump that said you could buy trending hashtags. I guess that's a sponsorship thing that's offered at Twitter. I don't know. It's very expensive. I mean, it's high six figures, low six. I don't know. It's in the six figures to buy hashtags. It's a very expensive ad buy. But trending hashtags are meant to push us into thinking that there is support for things that really there may not be a lot of support for, or pushing us to be concerned about things that we really aren't concerned about. So I'm always, anytime I see trending hashtags, I rarely click them on. I just wanted to know who Kremlin Kevin was. I didn't know it was Kevin McCarthy. But trending hashtags are a way to manipulate people into being upset or concerned about certain things. It's a way to drive public opinion. And that's why trending hashtags should be something that you stay away from. How many of you do that on Twitter? How many of you really go to your trending hashtags? How many of you go to them and look at them? Now, I've done it maybe all the time I've been on Twitter, which is since I think 7-8 years. I think maybe 4, 5, 6 times maybe in all those years, if that many. I mean, offhand, I can only think of 2 or 3, including today. Trending hashtags are very, very dangerous. It's worse than the television media trying to get you concerned about this or that. But this whole idea, Moscow Mitch and Kremlin Kevin, they might have a ring to them because they got the same letters there at the beginning of both words, but give me a break. And, the left with this Red Scare, the liberals don't even see what they're about. They don't even understand themselves, do they? They really don't. Listen, my name's Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. My name is Brian Craig. This is The Steve Kane Radio Show. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Stop hair loss in its tracks and call Dr. Mitch Matez for a free consultation. Talk to him about hormone replacement therapy. Hormone replacement therapy will stop hair loss in its tracks, and the hair you have left will grow in thicker and fuller. Stop your hair loss and call Dr. Matez. 561-953-5490. 561-953-5490.
So you've been told you need a medical test. What are you going to have to pay? Health test can be very expensive if you go to your doctor's office or to one of the big labs. It can cost you hundreds of dollars. Sometimes I haven't had tests because of the cost. Then I discovered Any Lab Test Now of Plantation, where they guarantee the lowest prices on all of their thousands of lab tests. Any Lab Test Now of Plantation's goal is to save you money and get you in and out in 15 minutes or less. At Any Lab Test Now of Plantation, you never need an appointment. You can walk right in and and have one of their thousands of tests done for just a fraction of what the big labs or your doctor's office charges. Give them a call, 954-916-1072. 954-916-1072. Tell them what test you need, and they will give you a quote right over the phone.
Good morning, everyone.
954-916-1072. Any lab test now in Plantation is located in the Jacaranda Plaza. That's the public shopping center in Plantation, just west of University Drive, on the north side.
Make sure
of
everyone
Sunrise
subscribes,
Boulevard.
all right?
Any lab test now at Plantation. Private and affordable lab testing. 954-916-1072.
Denture wearers, are messy adhesives ruining the taste of your food? Is it painful for you to eat? Does the constant denture movement affect your speech? Are you always worried that your dentures will fall out while
Hey,
you're
Charlene.
talking
Hey,
or
Bruce.
laughing? Do you have sore spots? You are not alone. These are common problems.
Oh, by the way, I don't know how many of you guys know, but I have a Patreon, which is linked in the description of my YouTube videos. You want to check that out.
Brighton Dental Care doesn't want cost to stop you from being able to eat the foods you love again and live in comfort. That's why, for Steve KANE listeners, they're offering implants. Get this, for just $3,500. That includes 2 implants plus a lower denture. Now, if you go to a
Merry Christmas, absolutely.
They're going to charge you $6,000 for the exact same implant
Hey, Sarah.
and denture. That's right, $6,000. But at Brighton Dental Care, just $3,500, and that includes the 2 implants plus your lower denture. Laugh and live with confidence. Call Brighton Dental Care at 954-922-4633, 954-922-4633, and online at brightondentalcare.com. Be sure to ask about special discounts for our military veterans.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
All right, welcome back. My name is Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. Yeah, the media manipulation is beyond anything that people realize. It really, truly is. I've often suspected that news stories in mainstream media publications were for sale, that you could buy them to get. I don't know. I was reading today a story. I think it was on. It might have been in the Daily Caller about online pornography. And it was a story on, I find that Tucker Carlson's Daily Caller has a lot, it's in a little too much risque stuff there for a conservative, but they had an article on the #1 search term on the top porn websites. I think this was on the Daily Caller. I may be wrong. It may not have been the Daily Caller, but I think it was. And I clicked it on because I was curious. What is the #1 search term? What's the #1 type of pornography that people are looking at? And I clicked the story and read it. I know to a lot of you out there, it's like I was watching porn. No, I wasn't. I was reading the news. And it said the #1 search term. Do you know what it was? What do you think? The #1 search term on the pornography websites, according to this news story I read this morning, in one of the conservative online publications I read each and every morning, it said aliens. Aliens. What? So I guess there's some type of alien pornography, is what I'm guessing. And you got to ask, and I know this seems like an extreme thing, but it's what I'm talking about with this hashtag Kremlin Kevin and Moscow Mitch and these other things. Do you really think that that's true? I think that's absurd. Who would even think of such a thing? Right? And what I'm guessing by that story is that the online pornography companies, for some reason, are pushing alien porn on their websites. For some reason. Maybe they got a bunch of new videos up that involve that. Yeah, maybe they've got, they're trying to get, there was this Area 51 Naratu thing a while back. Maybe they're trying to get on board with that. Maybe there's some Area 51 Naratu run videos up there, and they're trying to promote them. So how does a story become that? I mean, that's absurd, isn't it? It's completely absurd. And the reason I use that example is I just suspect that most of the mainstream news, that you can buy news stories. I don't know. And I'm talking about the big guys, because a story like that, online pornographers probably have a lot of disposable income to advertise, And that sounds like a news story that's really an advertisement. Does that make sense? I mean, how could aliens be the #1 search term on pornography websites? That doesn't even make sense to me. It's so bizarre. I know it is, but they're pushing people just like the hashtags on the right side of the screen. You know, I was talking on my podcast last. By the way, do you all subscribe to my podcast, the Brian Craig Show podcast? I have a studio at home. My wife and I broadcast the Brian Craig Show podcast from our home studio. I've got a very nice studio, by the way, at home over the years. And we were talking about Fox News last night and a change that I saw over the weekend. And I'd like to know how many of you have noticed this change. Now, what I'm wondering is this just because it's the holiday? You know, most people are off this week in broadcasting, except me. I'm here and on the air. And that's it. I'm always here. You can't get rid of me, people. I am always here. But a lot of people are off. So the people in the news on Fox, there's a lot of fill-in people. On air and off air, I'm assuming. And I had Fox News on Saturday while I was doing some work around the house and was fixing a ceiling fan. Remember I was talking about ceiling fan repair last week? And believe it or not, I didn't fix my ceiling fan. My daughter fixed our ceiling fan in the living room, which was an absolute miracle. I was getting very frustrated. I was ready to go and buy a new ceiling fan, and my daughter said, no, we can do it. And I got very frustrated because I was not having any success. And I went to Lowe's, and I was in the ceiling fan department, and I called my wife, and I was looking at some ceiling fans. I was going to FaceTime her, and my daughter said, Dad, I fixed it. Come home. You don't have to buy the new ceiling fan. But anyway, so I had Fox News on while we're doing this frustrating ceiling fan repair at home. And I noticed something on Fox over the weekend that I had not seen in a long time. They were actually doing regular news on Saturday as opposed to having chat shows. It was not what I normally see on Fox, even on Saturdays. And they had the host and the co-host, and they were just going from story to story without going to conservative and liberal pundits to tell you, the viewer, what you're supposed to think about that story if you're a conservative, what you're supposed to think about that story if you're a never-Trumper, what you're supposed to think about that story if you're a liberal. They just were giving us the news, and it went on and on all day on Saturday for the most part. And I even saw some of it yesterday on Sunday. I know they have some regular shows on Sundays, and Saturday nights are opinion shows. I'm talking about during the day on Saturday. And it was so refreshing. I was enjoying watching Fox News over the weekend. And I wish the news would get back to that. But the news is selling you something. And they're not selling you just what they play on television commercials during the breaks. They're selling a message and an agenda. Just like these trending hashtags I was talking about. Kremlin Kevin trying to sell you an agenda. And I'm just wondering if there's been a change at Fox News, or is it just because it's holiday time and the regular people are off on air and off air, and a lot of the regular pundits are also off, so they just were light on pundits, so they decide, well, let's go back to what we're supposed to be, news. But I'll tell you, if Fox News did a major change to what I was watching on Saturday on Fox News during the day, I'd go back to cable news. You know, I've gotten away from the cable news because it's not news anymore. It's trying to tell me what to think about everything in the news. They don't give you they'll give you a one-line story. Space Force receives funding. And then they'll have a conservative telling you about the need for Space Force, and then they'll have you a liberal telling you why we don't need Space Force, as opposed to just giving you the story. You understand what I'm talking about? And when they were doing it had been so long since I had seen regular just news on Fox News, more than just a top or the bottom of the hour reporter coming in. I was totally blown away by it. It blew my mind. And I liked it. But I think it's just the holiday time. I don't think they're going to go to that. I don't think they're going to let that happen. No, because we're in an election year, and they're in the business of influencing elections. The problem with the news, There's a lot of problems with the news, but one of the problems with the news is it's owned by these multinational corporations that don't want President Trump to renegotiate these trade deals because these international corporations that own the media companies have business overseas and they like the deals the way they are. Oh, someone in the chat said they need a Space Force hat. I have a Space Force hat. I love it. My wife got me a very, very nice Space Force hat, and it's official Trump merch. If you go to Trump's website, they have Space Force hats, and they're very high quality. They're nice. And when I wear the Space Force hat, I get questions about it. People ask me about it all of the time. And I think I may be one of the first people to actually have a Space Force hat. I have a Space Force t-shirt, but I can't find it. I've been looking for it. But my Space Force hat, I love it. And they do sell them at the Trump website. But yeah, so if the news got back to doing the news, I'd be so happy. Oh man, would I be happy. Oh man. You know, I really miss it. It's been so long. You know, when Fox News became number one, Fox News didn't become number one until after the 2000 recount. And they'd been on the air for 6 years or so before. When did they go on the air? 94-ish? And the reason that Fox News became number one is because they did fair and balanced news coverage, and they've gotten away from that. Right? I mean, look at this. Oh, let me take a break for the bottom of the hour. We're coming up on 6:30. And there was a happening on the 5 that I want to talk about when we get back. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. We're here live. It's Monday, Christmas week. Happy Hanukkah. Are you guys working a regular week this? I mean, are you like at work, people that go to work? Are people off this week? Not everybody's off this week, are they? I feel like I'm the only one working, which I know is not true. I know that's not true. Outside of like, you know, people that work in retail and restaurant work. But people that have office jobs and things, are you guys working this week? Because I feel like I'm one of the handful of people that are working. All right. Our number 1-888-GO, Kane 1-888-465-2631. Oh, man. We'll take our break. When we get back, so much more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. There better be more to talk about. I got 2.5 hours to go.
Someone suffers an overdose every 2 hours, either from heroin, fentanyl, or some other prescription medication that's as close as the family medicine cabinet. In fact, mom and dad's medicine cabinet is frequently the gateway to the horrors of hardcore addiction down the road. Drug problems left unattended are only going to get worse. This is not something you can do on your own. You need expert professional help, and if your family is
Where did I put?
and you feel helpless, I'm here to tell you that help is available. Call my good friend Sal at the Edge Recovery, 561 area code 523-4325. This is his personal cell phone, 561-523-4325. If your loved one refuses treatment, the Edge Recovery will conduct an intervention and get them into the treatment plan that they need. The Edge Recovery offers every option from intervention to 30-day rehab to sober living to counseling with a licensed therapist, as well as group therapy treatment. It's covered by most insurance. But
I'm thinking of taking off on Thursday.
Recovery has options for
What do you guys think? Should I work
Call
Thursday?
Sal at the Edge Recovery. Do it today.
Steve's off today, so I'm by myself. I don't know. Should I? I don't want to work on Thursday. I'd like to take Thursday off, or at least come in late. It went live at 96. Take off. If I worked, would you guys be here?
Is your largest organ, yet it's probably the most neglected. Living in South Florida,
Yeah, I need a day off.
annual checkup for skin cancer
I need a day off.
is vital.
When I was talking earlier, I have a Patreon. Do you guys know what Patreon is? There's a link in the description of the YouTube video, and all my YouTube videos, pretty much. If you want to become a Patreon supporter,
Certified dermatologist. And when it comes to caring for your skin and making sure that it is healthy as possible and skin cancer free, you want Dr. Mendez as your personal
Yes.
dermatologist. Dr. Mendez is
Yeah, I promote it on my podcast
Your annual skin cancer
and my
exam
YouTube
is
channel.
covered by Medicare. Dr. Mendez also takes most other insurances. Steve
Yeah, Sarah in there, she's one of my Patreon supporters.
Checkup. It was easy breezy. Dr. Mendez examined him from head to toe. Took all
Yep,
50
Sarah's one of my
Steve
Patreon
was good
supporters.
to go. Call Dr. Mendez right now at 954-431-7681. 954-431-7681. When you call, make sure to ask for Sarah. She takes extra good care of Steve KANE listeners and will get you an appointment fast. Early detection of skin cancer can save your life. Call Dr.
Good
Mendez
morning.
right now at 954-431-7681. 954-431-7681.
The Steve Kane Show.
It's hard for me to take a day off. I always feel guilty when I have a day off.
Avoid probate with a revocable
You know?
living trust. $350 for single people, $450 for married couples. When you complete your trust with attorney Barry Siegel, he will give you a $100 gift certificate to Tavolino Italian Restaurant in Coral Springs. The Siegel Law Group, with 9 offices in South Florida, including Boca Raton, Plantation, and Coral Springs. Call 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for
All righty. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, when Star Wars was first in. Any of you guys see Star Wars: The Last Jedi over the weekend? And don't worry, I'm not going to talk too much about Star Wars, but it wasn't that bad. I mean, they did what they could. They had this new sequel trilogy of garbage, and they tried to redeem it, and it was very disappointing, some of the things they did. I'm not going to get into the details of it. But, this guy, J.J. Abrams, he's the writer and director of these Star Wars movies, this new trilogy, and he also did the Star Trek reboot with Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto. He destroyed the Star Trek franchise, destroyed it. They're not making any more Star Trek movies because of him. And he's destroyed the Star Wars franchise, and people are really angry. Oh, The Mandalorian on Disney Plus is incredible. If you guys have Disney Plus, check out The Mandalorian. It's a Star Wars series. But Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed is in it, Baby Yoda. But J.J. Abrams, I hear so many people complaining about J.J. Abrams had a good. I was a fan of Lost. I used to watch Lost, and after Lost went off, I watched every episode again on Netflix. I was a big fan of Lost. But this guy, J.J. Abrams, has destroyed the 2 great science fiction franchises in American history. Star Wars and Star Trek. They're not making any more Star Trek movies. This Star Wars movie is a box office dud, they're telling us. Maybe this guy just hates science fiction and they put him in charge of all of it. I don't know what it is. Anyway, what are you guys doing on New Year's? Oh, man, New Year's Eve, over at Tavolino's here in Coral Springs, they have an incredible night planned. Dance to the music and bring in the new year with the sounds of the fabulous Crush Band over at Tavolino's. They're going to have 2 seatings at Tavolino's on New Year's Eve before 8. Okay, there's 2 seatings before 8 for early evening seating. A lot of people like to eat early and then get out and go to a party or go back home and watch the ball drop. There's also a seating after 8:30, and they're also having a New Year's party at Tavolino's. They have an incredible price-fixed 4-course meal, which includes a complimentary champagne toast. And I have the menu here, but I'm going to leave. Steve's not here, but when Steve will be back tomorrow, I'm going to give Steve the menu to read all the details of it. I'm looking, because I cannot pronounce all these fancy foods, but it does sound incredible. I can pronounce the main name, but when you get into all the things that are in the dish, I can't even begin. I'll sound terrible. But the New Year's menu, again, there's 2 seatings before 8, early seatings, and then at 8:30, they have the 3rd seating at Tavolino's that goes all the way through the New Year's celebration with the complimentary champagne toast. But the starters, oh my goodness, these starters sound great. Barbecue glazed pork belly. Oh man. Maryland blue crab cakes. Tavolino's colossal shrimp cocktail. These are just the starters. Lobster thermidor empanadas. This menu sounds spectacular. There are limited reservations. So call again. They have 2 seatings before 8. I think the first seating might be at 5. So call Tavolino's. Here's the number, 954-509-0046. 954-509-0046. Make sure you mention the radio, the Steve Kane Show. when you call to make a reservation, because these are limited reservations. And Ed said for Steve Kane listeners, they'll be extra helpful to you to make sure you get in and get a good seat. 954-509-0046. That is the Tavolino's New Year's Eve party. And definitely check that out. Oh, man. Yeah, so I don't know. I came into work today, and I don't know how many of you are noticing this, but the roads aren't that busy when I come in. I usually leave between 5 and 5:15 in the morning. And the roads aren't empty at that hour. The roads start to get busy because a lot of people go to work early in the morning. And today, the roads just were not busy. Not only were the roads not busy, I'd be at a stoplight all by myself. It was like I couldn't believe how empty the roads were this morning, when typically there's quite a bit of cars out there. So I'm thinking that most people are off this. Does the country shut down Christmas week? I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm not so sure about that. I don't know. It seems like it shuts down. But, you know, the thing with me, because I was talking during the break, because we're going to be here tomorrow as well as today, definitely on Friday, and I'm debating on whether or not to come into work on Thursday. And to me, it's very difficult for me to take a day off. My wife will tell you this. If I take a day off, it's like usually when I take a day off, it's either my wife has a doctor's appointment or a medical procedure, and I have to be at the hospital early in the morning, or it's Christmas or New Year's Day. And when these holidays fall on a weekend, okay, I got a 3-day weekend. But that doesn't happen all the time, right? When I take a day off, like the day after Christmas, this is just me. I don't know how many of you have this happen to you. I almost like feel guilty that I'm not in work, that I stayed home. I usually still will wake up early. Like if I'm off on Thursday, which I may be, I'm not sure yet, I'll probably still wake up at 5 in the morning, which is sleeping in for me. I might even wake up earlier. On the weekend, sometimes I'll wake up at 2, 3 in the morning. I get up, watch some TV or something, go on the computer. But, you know, and then I'm sitting at home, and I kind of like feel guilty. Like I should be at work. I don't know. Do any of you guys have that problem? Most people I know have no guilt about not working. They don't mind not working. But me, I guess it's because I love what I do. And all of you out there, this is the longest running radio show in Florida. And all of you that have been with us all these years, you know, I feel like if I take a day off, like I'm letting you guys down, you know, and especially now it's become more difficult since I've started live streaming. You know, the last few years we've been live streaming the show on different platforms. Now I live stream pretty much exclusively on YouTube, live, Brian Craig on YouTube. And there's a live chat room. And with the live chat room, there's more of a connection to the audience, even beyond through phone calls, you know, talking to, you know, callers on the air and talk radio. And I just kind of feel like I'm letting you guys down, and because you're there, boom, you get the notification every day at 6, you're there. And of course, we appreciate that you're there with us every day. So if I take a day off, I'm like, oh man, I feel it's like, you know, I'm letting you guys down. But, you know, whatever. I mean, I got to take some time off. You can't work yourself to death. Getting up in the middle of the night catches up with you from time to time. It does. About every 3 or 4 months, I'll have a rough few weeks. Getting up at the early hours catches up to you. But listen, there's a lot of issues to talk about. We're going to jump into a lot of them today. And, you know, this impeachment that they're holding over President Trump's head, you know, there's so much discussion going on about why President Trump's impeachment vote has not been transmitted to the Senate. And a lot of legal experts, we were talking about this last week, agree with me. I was asking the question the morning after. It seems most legal analysis I've heard says that he is not impeached. In fact, I made a YouTube video over the weekend. I asked Suri, as Suri said Trump's not impeached. And this was over the weekend. And there's a lot of speculation on why Nancy Pelosi didn't send the impeachment articles over to the Senate to begin the trial. And the real reason she hasn't done that, well, we don't know. But I was listening to a radio talk show over the weekend, and they took a call, and a caller, this wasn't a news story, and this wasn't a guest, a caller I heard calling another talk show over the weekend said that what they have been hearing from people is that one of the reasons Nancy Pelosi didn't send the impeachment to the Senate is because if he's impeached and not acquitted, and they have this hanging over his head, the left plan to make an argument that he cannot nominate someone to the Supreme Court of the United States because they might be ruling on his impeachment if it's still in the balance, you know? And it was just a caller. It wasn't a news story. It wasn't a government official. And I thought, wow. I could see these bottom feeder Democrats doing that, couldn't you? There's no question about it. I could see these bottom feeder Democrats doing that all day and all night. Well, the Supreme Court may have to rule on this. And how can we allow him to make a choice on the Supreme Court for a judge that very well may be ruling on whether or not he'll stay in the White House? Can you see them doing that? Good morning. You're on the radio.
Yeah, this is me.
Hey, Richie. All right, Richie. Oh, yes.
And I'm gonna throw something into you, okay? You're a political show, 99.9%, okay? And almost everybody, I would give you my opinion, and I follow you as much as anybody else.
Here comes, he's going to rip me down.
Take
Watch.
off for this week, the whole week.
Take off the whole week?
Yeah, hold it. Steve's in control of this. But the fact of the matter is, Brian, Congress is out. Most the news is very slow. I mean, you know, it's not as. For me, you work pretty hard by yourself a lot of time. I really think that you should have this week to yourself because it's such a slow news week. It really is going to be slow. I mean, they talked about some memo now that they're trying to make a big deal out of a memo they found.
Yeah.
Email or something.
Yeah. Well, you know, well, I know what you're saying. You know, when it comes to this is one of the most. That's why you'll look and Hannity's off, Rush is probably off. They're all off. They do this every year. I'm always working, and anybody can do a show when there's crazy, busy, hanging on the edge of your seat news. It takes skill and talent to do it in a holiday period.
You're not skilled and talented. You certainly are. I mean, you should. I mean, talk about other subjects at that point. I mean, if I was a program director, which I'm not, I would say this will be your 2 weeks of being light and talking about anything but politics.
Why is that?
There's nothing really going on at this time.
Oh no, there's lots going on. There's always stories going on.
You're a Star Wars guy, right? A big Star Wars guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if your wife watches this HQ, Shop HQ.
Mm-hmm. Shop HQ, I don't know what that is. What's Shop HQ?
Playing live. It's another thing on the cable. And you can get it actually in 4K or HD at least.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
.com. They had a whole 4 hours of Star Wars watches.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Yeah. Nah, I'm not going to wear Star Wars. My wife got me a couple years ago an Apple Watch. I brought it today. First time I've worn it like in a month. I'm not into watches. I'm not into wearing watches. I know you're a watch guy, but I'm not a watch guy. Well, it's an interesting thing you're talking about, though. You're saying take the whole week off because it's Christmas, and the next week is New Year's. So what are you saying? Are you saying, yeah.
In the Best of Brian shows.
Yeah.
You got to work extra hard these 2 weeks because
You're telling me. You're telling me. Well, people will be. That's why we're probably not going to be here on Thursday.
Yeah, and I would say take Friday too.
Take Friday off. Oh my goodness. Take Friday off. Oh no, I couldn't take Friday. I couldn't take Friday off.
Following week, which is going to be New Year's.
Oh no, these are the two. Christmas and New Year's are the two most difficult times to do talk radio. They really are. That's why all these big shots take off, not because it's family time, because it's a difficult time to do a talk show. That's why they take it off. Yeah. Well, I think today, still most people are going to work. Tomorrow is when people either are starting to be off work or they get off half days and things like this because it's Christmas Eve. But today is, I think today's a normal work week for most people. Are most people that work in offices off? Really?
So because Christmas is falling on a Wednesday this year,
I know, it's awful.
it's even worse because it's in the middle. So I think that a lot of people say, oh, the heck with it, I'm going to take 2 extra days, tack it on, and take the whole week. And the same for New Year's.
Yeah. I know. I'm a glutton for punishment. You know, I almost today, I almost said to myself, because Steve's not coming in today, and I know it's a holiday week, and I started to say, I almost called the radio station and said, you know what, play a best of from 6 to 7. I'm going to go on live at 7. Because, I do that sometimes. And, you know, and I said to myself, I could do that. But then I feel a responsibility to all you guys in the listening audience and in the chat room and everything on YouTube. I feel like a responsibility to be there for everybody because you guys are there for us. So I don't like missing time. I know. I was watching that. I left a little late today because of the tornado watch. I was waiting to see what was going on.
A new deal. Nothing will keep. The mailman, they say rain, snow, sleet, the mail will be delivered. Ryan will broadcast even through hurricane.
I did. When we had our last hurricanes hit us in South Florida, right after the hurricane passed, I was over here at the studio getting all the equipment ready to make sure everything was okay. Yeah, I know. I know. My wife will tell you, if I take a day off work, I like get depressed. And it's not because I'm not on the air. It's just because I got a work ethic, I guess.
So you're not like Alda John. I always.
But I get so I see there are so many men that I see in my life and everything that seem to go through their entire life without working a day, and they seem to have a pretty good life, And I always wonder what's going on here. What's going on? Like you worked your whole life, you're working on the screen like a prison guard on the public bus, and you know the type of guys I'm talking about. They never seem to work.
The whole islands and countries like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's correct. That's correct. All right, appreciate the call, Richie. Take care. Richie says take 2 weeks off. 2 weeks. Are you kidding me? Oh my goodness. See, I thought Richie was when I took Richie's call and I heard him say you like Star. I thought he was going to tell me because I talked about Star Wars for 2 minutes that I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that. No, there's a lot of news and everything. I've just been kind of holding off till the 7 o'clock hour to get into everything. Oh man! All right, let's take our break. Last break of the first hour. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Monday before Christmas. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, people.
Brian Craig here. I've been telling you to call Debbie at I Will Advisors and have her review your homeowner's insurance policy and save you money on your insurance premium. I'm in studio today with a Steve KANE listener, Don. Don did just that.
I called Debbie. She looked over my homeowner's insurance policy and told me I was paying way too much. She updated my policy. It didn't cost me a dime. And now my mortgage payment has been lowered because my insurance premium is part of my monthly mortgage payment.
Thanks, Don, and I'm glad Debbie can save you all that money. You can save money, too. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors, 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
Welcome. Make sure everyone subscribes.
Policy and lower your homeowner's insurance premium. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
If you suffer with diabetes, did you know there's a 25% chance that you will develop a foot ulcer at some point?
Someone
in
said
your
I'm not
life?
being censored.
And foot ulcers, when you have diabetes, can lead to severe health consequences up to and including amputation. Now, Medicare recognizes the importance of preventative foot care and has provided coverage for those of you who are at-risk patients. I want to introduce you to my good friends at the Soul Authority. At the Soul Authority, at little or no cost, you can receive your very own pair of therapeutic shoes made specially for diabetics. You're probably not aware, but as a diabetic Medicare recipient, you are entitled to one pair of high-quality diabetic shoes with
Good
3
morning.
custom inserts per year. These are not the ugly Frankenstein shoes. These are name-brand shoes. They're stylish. They'll provide you with the extra width and extra depth to stop diabetic foot problems before they begin. Oftentimes, amputation due to diabetes is preventable, and one of the preventable measures that is most effective is wearing the proper shoes.
That's right.
Call the Soul Authority at 954-597-7060 or online
Good morning. Good
at
morning.
thesoulauthority.com. That's THESOLE authority.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just
All right. Yes, yes. Welcome back. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. You know, speaking of working through the holiday period, Friendly Tire is closed this week on Christmas, but they're open tomorrow, Christmas Eve, and they're reopening the day after Christmas at Friendly Tire. Just so you know. That's right. See, I'm not the only one. I was just reading in the Gateway Pundit. Here's a headline in the stories you don't see on television. Listen to this. The Gateway Pundit. Liberal goon arrested for assault after hitting and choking Trump supporter Jonathan Gilliam at the Women for Trump event at D.C.'s Willard Hotel. Yeah. Andrew James Reuter, age 37, of Charleston, South Carolina, was arrested for assault by the District of Columbia Metropolitan Police on Saturday for allegedly hitting and choking a man who attended a pro-President Donald Trump event at the Willard International Hotel, according to a police report obtained by Breitbart News and a spokesperson for the Metropolitan Police Department. Jonathan Gilliam, a retired Navy SEAL and former FBI special agent who was a speaker at the Women for America First event, is named as the victim of the alleged assault in the police report. The police report said Rudder used personal weapons, and in parentheses they wrote hands/feet in the attack. On the listed date and time location, he lunged in an aggressive manner towards the victim and assaulted by grabbing his neck and causing the listed injury. The victim was able to defend himself and strike the attacker on the face with a closed fist. The suspect was placed under arrest, transported to the 2nd District for processing. Yeah, you know, these liberal loons, it's not a good idea to jump on stage with your bare hands and attack a Navy SEAL. So the Navy SEAL defended himself with his fist. This is an absolutely amazing story. Richie said there's no stories, there's no news. There's tons of news. The media just aren't reporting them. You know, this is an attack on a veteran. You know, when that Lieutenant Colonel Vindman, the overweight lieutenant colonel, was being questioned by conservatives, by Trump support. He's a lieutenant colonel and he got a Purple Heart. He's a Vatican. You attack it. You can't. You're anti-military. Here you've got a Navy SEAL who's attacked by a lib. Media blackout. Media blackout on it. You know, where are the stories of Trump people attacking liberals? Where are these stories? I see story after story of Trump supporters being attacked from the left. Remember, we had the little boy on the school bus here in Florida. Where did that story go? The girl assaulted by her school teacher. Where did that story go in Michigan? Now this one? There's no, Richie says there's no news. Here's another, listen, you're telling me there's no, the reason there's no news is because the media are not pushing an agenda this week. This story, listen to this story. ISIS-connected plane mechanic pleads guilty to sabotaging American Airlines flight in Miami. Remember this story? Another one that's covered up by the media. There's no news. Remember this is in Gateway Pundit. Remember the American Airlines mechanic who sabotaged a flight out of Miami a few months ago? He had allegedly disabled the navigation system of a 737 with 150 people on board. He also had what they're calling potential ties to ISIS. He had been fired from Alaska Airlines after making a series of other negligent blunders, and then he tried to sue Alaska Airlines, crying racism. The mechanic's name is Abdul Majid Marof Ahmed Alani. He's pled guilty to attempted destruction of an aircraft. CBS in Miami is reporting this story. You know, there are stories all over the news, but the media only have one story. Trump's involved with Russia. He's doing the bidding of Putin. He needs to be removed from office. That's the only story. There's a million stories out there. And all of these stories should have a lot of legs to them that are being discussed in the media. You know, I've heard Michael Savage talk about a frustration that I've had for years on the radio. And you may have heard Savage. I've had the same complaint. Savage has had it many times as well. Savage has said, he said, I'll have a story. I'll be weeks ahead of the TV news on it. And until it's on TV, I can't get a discussion going with the audience. I can't get the audience interested until it's on TV. I've heard Savage say that. I've had that same frustration myself. You know, a lot of these stories, because it's not on television, even people who claim to have cut the cable and all these things, if it's not on television, it's like it's not real to them. You know? And the media, there's all these stories they're not covering. The kid beaten up, the Trump kid beaten up, the Trump girl attacked by her teacher, a Trump-supporting Navy SEAL over the weekend physically attacked by a liberal who tried to choke him. Where are these stories? This airline mechanic who's a terror suspect, who was trying to sabotage an airplane in Miami. Where are these stories? Because the media, that doesn't fit the narrative of the media. And, you know, the frustration I often have is just that. Even those of you out there that are longtime loyal listeners of the program, it's so difficult sometimes to even get you who understand what I'm saying interested in a story that's not been on television yet. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, 1 hour down, 2 to go. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll take calls after the break. My name's Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. On the radio since 1977. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE 1, 888-465-2631. We'll take our break and be back.
The Money Talk Network is 95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470, WWNN Pompano Beach.
If you suffer
Steve
with
Kane Show.
diabetes, did you know there's a 25% chance that you will develop a foot ulcer at some point in your life? And foot ulcers, when you have diabetes, can lead to severe health consequences up to and including
Yeah, I know what you
amputation.
mean.
Now, Medicare recognizes the importance of preventative foot care and has provided coverage for those of you who are at-risk patients. I want to introduce you to my good friends at the Soul Authority. At the Soul Authority, at little or no cost, you can receive your very own pair of therapeutic shoes made specially for diabetics. You're probably not aware, but as a diabetic Medicare recipient, you are entitled to
Oh,
one
thanks,
pair
Carol. Carol
of
became a
high-quality
Patreon
diabetic
supporter.
shoes
Yeah, I have a
with free
Patreon
custom
page,
inserts
and there's a
per
link in
year.
my
These are
YouTube
not the
description.
ugly
And
Frankenstein
Carol just became a
shoes.
Patreon
These are
supporter. I
name
appreciate
brand
that, Carol.
shoes. They're stylish. They'll provide you with the extra width and extra depth to stop diabetic foot problems before they begin. Oftentimes, amputation due to diabetes is preventable, and one of the preventable measures that is most effective is wearing the proper shoes. Call the Soul Authority.
Yeah, thank you, Carol.
At 954-597-7060
Yeah, one of the things I do on Patreon is I upload my podcast commercial free on Patreon.
At thesoulauthority.com. That's THESOLE authority.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
Hey guys, are you losing your hair? Stop hair loss in its tracks and call Dr. Mitch Matez for a free consultation. Talk to him about hormone replacement therapy. Hormone replacement therapy will stop hair loss in its tracks, and the hair you have left will grow in thicker and fuller. Stop
Oh, yeah, we do.
And call Dr. Matez, 561-953-5490. 561-953-5490. Online at hormonetherapy.bocaRaton.com.
This is Steve Kane. When it comes to looking your best, sometimes you need a little extra help.
That's
Dr.
right.
Nathan at the Nathan Clinic is a renowned plastic surgeon here in South Florida who will bring out your most beautiful self. Dr. Nathan, highly skilled, knows how to reveal your inner beauty and make you look your absolute best. He's a board-certified plastic surgeon. People come from miles around just because of his
Nick in
extraordinary
Baltimore's a
skills and his
Patreon supporter.
caring bedside manner. Dr. Nathan performs breast augmentations, facelifts, Botox, tummy tucks, liposuction, and much, much more. Visit his website. Read the testimonials from his patients. They love Dr. Nathan, and you will too. He has years of experience and impressive credentials that make Dr. Nathan the only plastic surgeon you need visit. He'll advise you and tell you the best course of action so that you will always remain true to who you are. You can contact Dr. Nathan for a no-charge consultation by calling 305
Steve Kane Show.
area code 680-5121.
Yep.
That's area code 305
Yeah, hold on.
680-5121 or online at drnathan.com. Tell him you heard it on the Steve Kane Show.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Avoid probate with a revocable living trust. $350 for single people, $450 for married couples. When you complete your trust with Attorney Barry Siegel, he will give you a $100 gift certificate to Tavolino Italian Restaurant in Coral Springs. The Siegel Law Group, with 9 offices in South Florida, including Boca Raton, Plantation, and Coral Springs. Call 1-855-FLA-3782.
You are listening to South Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll-free, dial 1-888-GO-KANE 1. That's 1-888-GO-KANE 1. And now...
All right, hour number 2 has begun. It is Monday, the 23rd, counting down till Christmas on Wednesday. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. We are here live today and tomorrow, off on Christmas. Oh, boy. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the radio. Good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. This is Joan from Pompano Beach.
Yeah.
I'm calling in with... Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
All right. I'm calling from Pompano Beach. In reference to the stories that you've been talking about all week about the teacher that's had sex with the young boy.
Oh, yeah, we were talking about that on Friday. Yeah, the weekend show. Yeah.
Remembering the other night about the other case that was a very famous case where the woman teacher had sex with the young boy.
Mary Kay Letourneau.
Letourneau, was that the name?
Yeah, Mary Kay Letourneau. Or was it Turnout? Yeah.
Yeah, she went to jail for 7 years for him, and he waited for her, and they got married and had 2 children afterwards.
Yeah.
For, lot.
That's different. That's a different. By the way, no, they did not live happily ever after. They got divorced a couple years ago. But she was like his 6th grade teacher. That's different. What we were talking about on Friday was a high school teacher is facing prison time for a relationship with a high school teenage boy. And I was talking about how there's a difference between, we're talking about high school teenage boys here. Mary Kay Letourneau, she started a little young, she started too young there. But I may ask you though, as a woman though, if this woman in the case we were talking about last week wasn't just any woman, she was a Miss Kentucky just 5 years ago. So if some high school teenage boy is being seduced by Miss Kentucky, I mean, I don't know, is there harm done there to you? No, she doesn't want to respond. Okay, well, we'll go to Steve in Royal Palm then. Good morning.
Hey, morning. First off, to get off track a second, you're talking about nobody on the road.
Yeah.
Should be up in New York during Yom Kippur. You think they sold the city?
Oh, it's like the Omega Man.
Exactly. Anyway, you see what's happening in Virginia with the whack job governor over there?
Mm-hmm.
You got to turn your guns in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're about to have a there's about to be a civil war inside of Virginia with this Klansman governor they got up there. Or was he in blackface? We're not sure.
Well, that to me is something very scary. Because when you have a state governor who has a lot of power, people don't realize it. When he's going to take the state National Guard and command them to go knocking on doors because the county sheriff are making sanctuary gun counties, that's a scary.
Well, you know, this thing in Virginia that I don't think it'll get to that point. I mean, a state, I don't, you can have, has a state, he's talking about gun confiscation, right? The governor of Virginia?
Right.
I don't think, there's not been a state that's had gun confiscation passed before. I mean, there's been gun licensing at city levels, but I'm not sure at state levels. What he's doing is not constitutional. A governor cannot overrule the Second Amendment of the United States, and I don't think he would be ordering the National Guard to knock on anyone's door. I don't see that.
What happened in New Orleans? New Orleans, the mayor, I forget the guy's name, but he ordered the police department to do no-knock searches of people's homes, giving them the story that he was afraid they were going to.
Well, you know, this is an interesting to me, you know, what's going on in Virginia is very odd. There's very little coverage of it. And anytime I hear this gun grab talk in Virginia, I never hear anyone mention the controversy over the Klansman blackface college yearbook photograph of the governor. That's like not even, I haven't seen that mentioned in one of these stories. Have you?
Well, that's something they want to hide.
Yeah.
The governor look bad. He's a Democrat. But a lot of it stems from our friend, Mr. Soros, who's putting all these pro-crime state attorneys.
That's right.
Attorneys into office.
That's right. Including here in Florida. Yeah. Yeah.
What is it? That Christian newspaper that came out against Trump?
Uh-huh.
Their backers.
I did not know that one. I didn't hear that one.
Came out. He's one of those papers, that particular magazine paper, whatever the heck it is, one of their financial backers.
Well, you know, this story in Virginia about the governor activating the National Guard to go into counties, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. It's just not. I just don't think that's going to happen. Do you?
Possibility of commanding his National Guard to go do it, and the sheriffs. Evidently, something must be up because I think it's almost 90 of the state sheriffs have declared their counties as.
Well, you know, the thing about Virginia, I mean, if you look at the American Revolution, there's two primary states behind the American Revolution: Massachusetts and Virginia. You know, I mean, look at who came from Virginia, right? Jefferson himself, Washington, and you know, in Virginia is a gun culture. The people of Virginia, I mean, if you get out of the area where all the bureaucrats live up in Northern Virginia, you get out of Northern Virginia, these are gun-toting people there. It's just not going to happen. And this governor, this governor they have up there, the Klansman blackface governor, they're only one-termers up there, so he's not concerned about his next election. To me, it kind of looks like he's trying to get some kind of job in the gun control movement after his term is up.
Yeah, but what gets me is how many crazy, stupid people are out there. Like you take New York. New York, they've changed the laws where nobody needs bail anymore. You could be arrested today for some serious felony and be out without bail. And they're talking about having to go back into legislation to change.
Well, you know, the thing about guns, it would be nice if there were no guns. But anytime we talk about gun control, I believe that if we knew how many guns were actually in America, that even the strongest Second Amendment supporters would be shocked. You know, we have 300 million people in the country. I think there's probably 1 billion guns in America. And I'm not exaggerating. Because guns last mostly forever. And most people that own guns own multiple guns. And, you know, some of the guns I have are going to be 100 years old in a year or two, and they look brand new, you know, that were my grandfather's. And there are so many guns in this country. You could never, and Virginia, let me tell you something, Virginia probably has so far as states go, because Virginia is a big state. Virginia may be the state with the most guns in it because of the long history of Virginia and the culture of Virginia. And a gun confiscation just wouldn't work. And the problem with gun control in this day and age that takes it to a new level is the technology. If every gun in America was confiscated and people willingly did it, you can 3D print guns now. And I know that 3D printed guns are not the most reliable guns, but they still work. And 3D printing technology, so far as guns go, would advance light years real quick. Banning guns is an impossible task in America. I know they just did a big confiscation in New Zealand. New Zealand's a tiny country with a small population that doesn't have that wasn't founded on a revolution like America. It's just not going to happen. And it's such a ridiculous. Liberals like it because it's a problem with no solution, so they can constantly keep people riled up about gun control.
In Israel had extremely strict gun control rules. I mean, some of the most strict in the world. When they started having all these attacks, these terrorist attacks within Israel, they just turned around and said, we made a mistake, and you people can now start carrying guns once you get.
Well, the thing about, I've got mixed feelings about licensing because I know, I've been a gun owner since I was 12. I mean, I know I didn't really own the gun then, but I used to go hunting with my dad with a gun when I was 12 years old. 410 shotgun was the first gun that I shot. And I've been around guns and used guns since I was 12 years old, and I am 48 years old now. So I've got a long history with guns. And I'll be the first to tell you that there are too many people with guns that have no business having them. So far as the guns I own, I'm not going to tell everybody what guns I have or how many, but I own some rifles and and handguns as well. And my handguns are all revolvers. They're not semi-autos. And I'm not comfortable with a semi-auto handgun. I like revolvers. Semi-autos, you got the magazine. You don't know you can't see how many rounds you have in it. There's jam up problems. I just don't feel comfortable with it. And I find whenever I go to gun shows, gun shops, or I've been in concealed weapon permit classes, there's a lot of these George Zimmerman types that go in there because they think it's cool to have a gun. They buy the biggest and prettiest gun they can find, and people are buying guns and own guns and even have concealed weapon permits and carry that gun. That is something they're really not skilled enough to have. They've got guns that they don't know how to use properly. They have one story I told, you probably heard me talk about this, Steve. I was at a concealed weapon permit course with Steve and his daughters years ago, and there were these two guys that weren't with us, but they were in the group with us on the range, and the guy had like a .44 Magnum, and he was standing behind us on the range with the gun in his hand, loaded. He didn't even know, and he was talking, and I went up to the instructor, and I said, hey, this guy's behind us with this loaded .44. He went and took it from him, and the guy didn't even know, how to a .44 Magnum is a big gun. I mean, it's what Dirty Harry original gun was, and there is a gun problem in the country. So I'm not,
I agree with you. There's also a mental health problem.
That's a big one.
So you get both of those straightened out. You have people like the governor of Virginia who's.
Well, you look at this. You look at this animal that responsible for this god awful massacre at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. The guy was clearly mentally ill. Everybody around him knew it, yet he was still legally purchasing weapons. And he had. I know his parents had passed away, but he had a legal guardian, and there were people around him. If there was someone in my circle of friends who was, I had that one experience, sadly meeting this guy before the shooting at the Wawa, and I thought he was nuts. So he scared me just looking at him. A little tiny guy, and he scared me. You could tell he was insane. No one in his circle went to authorities and said, hey, I know him. He's deranged. He shouldn't have guns. there's a big problem with mental health. You're right. And guns are too easy to get, and too many people have guns. The guns I have, I'm qualified to have. I don't have guns that are, I was at the gun range with my daughter once, and this guy came in and he rented a fully automatic machine gun because the gun ranges here in Florida, you can rent fully automatic machine guns. And he was on a date with this, he was like this ugly, overweight guy, geeky guy with this, she looked like a stripper or a hooker. I don't know. He was trying to impress this girl, and he took her to the gun range, and he was a couple slots down from us with this fully automatic, I don't remember if it was an M16 or a AK-47. It was one or the other. I think it was an M16. He had no idea what he was doing. She had no idea what she was doing. And the gun was flying up in the air every time they pulled the trigger because it was fully automatic. I got my daughter and we left because I didn't feel safe on the range with these people. So, I'm not opposed to regulation on guns at all. And there are problems with guns in this country, but the solutions that the left are talking about are crazy. The liberals want to take our guns away so that they can have complete power and control over us. They don't want to take them away for a public safety measure at all.
Well, my personal experience is, if you gave me a choice, what would I rather see enforced? Strict mental health laws or strict gun control laws? I take strict mental health laws.
Well, the problem with that is, what is mental illness? I mean, what defines it? If you take Xanax, an anti-anxiety medication on occasion, are you no longer allowed to? But you know what I'm talking. That's such a slippery slope.
Going to hurt somebody, or are you going to hurt yourself? That classifies to me as an emergency mental health situation. The sticks or the other ones to make you feel happy or whatever. Take away the problem that's causing the depression or whatever it is, and you cure it. But you have people that have severe mental illnesses that want to harm themselves or harm somebody else, and a gun is not the only weapon to use, as in England. You can use a knife, a bat, you can use anything.
Well, here in the United States, and I'm sure this statistic is still true, but the last time I looked at the gun death statistics, the number one cause of death by firearm, you probably know what it is. What's the number one cause of suicide? That's exactly right, suicide. Suicide is the number one cause of handgun deaths. I don't know, I would imagine handguns, not guns in general, but maybe guns in general. So when you looked at the number one cause of death by firearms in America is suicide, that's a mental health issue. I mean, there's but most people that are suicidal, I don't know, do they have people around them that would... No, I have had in my circle, I don't want to say who, 3 people have committed suicide, 2 of them by guns, in my circle that I knew personally. And, yeah, and go ahead.
When I was up in New York, was the top of several bridges, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queensboro. And why was I on the top of those bridges? To take some person off the top of the bridge who decided, I'm going to kill myself, so let me figure out how I'm going to do it. I'm going to climb on the top of some stupid bridge and throw myself off. Most of the times they did it, but you have to...
Well, yeah, but guns are too accessible. I mean, I think most, when I was at the Trump rally, though, I was surprised at the Trump rally that I went to a few weeks back here in South Florida. Every speaker that got up, all the way up to the president, talked about defending our Second Amendment, and the crowd went wild. The Second Amendment's very important. I don't want people to think I'm some liberal gun grabber here, because I am not. I'm just saying that there are too many people that have guns that they're not qualified to own. And also, people, like my daughter wanted to get a Mustang a couple years ago, one of those big hot rod Mustangs, So I took her over to the car dealership and had her sit in one and start it up. It scared the hell out of her. She's like, oh, this is too much car for me. She didn't realize how big the engine was, a Hemi engine in some of these cars and things like that. There are too many people that have guns they're not qualified for. And there's too many people that have mental illnesses that either have guns or have access to guns. But you can't try. The Democrats want to take the guns away so they can have total power over our lives. Because once the guns are gone, our rights are gone. And that's why I wouldn't support any of the liberal gun control. And so far as a gun registration for all the guns, everybody knows that's just a step so they know where to come and take them. All right, Steve, appreciate the call. All right, I'm Brian. It is Monday before Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. That's right, 22 minutes after the hour. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO, KANE 1-888-465-2631. We'll take our break and be right back, people. Don't go anywhere.
Inviting you to come see the all-new Toyota of Hollywood. You know, for the past 4 years in a row, Toyota of Hollywood has been #1 in volume for Toyota sales in the southeast region of the United States. There are lots of places you can shop for a new car, but there is only one Toyota of Hollywood where you will be treated like royalty. The service you receive at Toyota of Hollywood is second to none. No high-pressure sales, no hassle, no haggling, just the best deal on the brand new Toyota of your choice. At Toyota of Hollywood, there is a full line of new and pre-owned Toyotas, sure to meet the needs of you and your
Welcome,
family.
everyone.
I drive a Sienna van. Plenty of room, not only for the kids, but for the grandkids as well. It's roomy, it's comfortable, it drives like a dream. And then there's my favorite model of Toyota, the Camry. I've owned 3 of them over the years, and boy, are they made to last. That's right. You take care of your Toyota, it will take care of you. Then, of course, as a starter car for the kids in college, the fabulous Corolla, the ultimate in driving efficiency, priced perfectly for that first car. When you shop at Toyota of Hollywood, make sure you ask for Steve Ostrov. That's right, he's the GM. He's a big Steve KANE fan, and he is going to give you the deal of a lifetime. The new Toyota of Hollywood, 400,000 square feet with the most gorgeous Toyota automobiles you have ever seen. Located between Sheridan Street and Hollywood Boulevard on Highway 441, open till midnight. Tell them Steve KANE sent you.
Did you know that your skin is your largest organ? Yet, it's probably the most neglected. Living in South Florida means having an annual checkup for skin cancer is vital. We live in the Sunshine State after all, and our skin bears the brunt of the sunshine. It's time to have your annual skin checkup. There's no better doctor to take care of this for you than Dr. Jose Mendez. Dr. Mendez is a board-certified dermatologist, and when it comes to caring for your skin and making sure that it is healthy as possible and skin cancer-free, you want Dr. Mendez as your personal dermatologist. Dr. Mendez is caring and very knowledgeable. Your annual skin cancer exam is covered by Medicare. Dr. Mendez also takes most other insurances. Steve KANE recently had his annual skin cancer checkup. It was easy breezy.
That's
Dr.
right.
Mendez examined him from head to toe, took off a few things, and now Steve is good to go. Call Dr. Mendez right now at 954-431-7681. 954-431-7681. When you call, make sure to ask for Sarah. She takes extra good care of Steve KANE
That's right.
listeners and will get you an appointment
I know.
fast. Early detection of
I
skin
know.
cancer can save your life.
About the
Call
marijuana,
Dr.
I know.
Mendez right now at
You're right.
954-431-7681. 954-431-7681. Brian Craig here. I've been telling you.
Yeah,
to
I've
call
never
Debbie
lived in
at
a
I
gun-free
Will
house in my
and have
life.
her review your homeowner's insurance policy and save you money on your insurance premium. I'm in studio today with a Steve KANE listener, Don. Don did just that.
I called Debbie.
What do you guys think of Ben Shapiro?
Policy and told me I was paying way too much. She updated
Thoughts
my
on Ben
policy.
Shapiro?
It didn't cost me a dime. And now my mortgage payment has been lowered because my insurance premium is part of my monthly mortgage payment.
Because I got a clip I'm
Don.
going to be
glad
playing
Debbie
about
saved
Ben
you
Shapiro.
all that money. You can save money too. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. Have her review your policy and lower your homeowner's insurance premium. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080.
Ben is irritating.
Listen to the Steve
Yeah.
KANE Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for
All righty. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve KANE Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We're almost halfway through the show. Where's the show going? Just flying by, flying by. I'm Brian. It is Christmas this week. We'll be here today, tomorrow, Friday. We're debating Thursday still. Certainly off on Christmas. Oh, boy, oh, boy. You know, Ben Shapiro I don't know. Ben Shapiro. Yeah, I was asking people what they think of Ben Shapiro in the chat room during the break. Someone said annoying. I'll agree with that. I'll agree with Ben Shapiro is annoying, and I'm not crazy about never Trumpers. But have you seen this video? It's a terrible thing that happened to Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro talks about the need he has for security because he and his family are harassed so much. And I don't listen to Ben Shapiro all that much, but I listen to his podcast on occasion. And he really fires up the left. I mean, they're really triggered by Ben Shapiro. I mean, I don't know. I get annoyed by Ben Shapiro more than anything else. He talks fast. He's very self-important. He thinks he's smarter than everyone else, you know, and all this stuff. And he's a prodigy and all these things. I just find I agree with Ben Shapiro on a lot of things. I don't agree with him about Trump. He is a never Trumper. He believed that Trump had sex with Stormy Daniels during all that affair. But the thing with Ben Shapiro, I think just to sum up Ben Shapiro, as a listener to Ben Shapiro, he's not likable, you know? And to me, to listen to someone, even if I disagree, they got to have some likable qualities to them. And he's just not likable to me. But he had an incident. He was walking with his wife and a child, and I can't remember. I'm going to play this audio. And he was confronted by a lib. Listen to this. This is Ben Shapiro getting yelled at.
It's great to see you. Why did you give a 45-minute speech about me at Stanford, and you won't even look in my direction? Come on, I'm hey, hey, let him cross, man. Let him cross. I know you're your family, but I can't get you to cross. A 45-minute speech? Let him cross. Wow. Well, that's our free speech warrior, everybody.
Okay. Now, I'm not sure who this guy is that Ben Shapiro gave a 45-minute speech about. But, you know, family, to me, it is off limits, right? And I could not imagine going and confronting a man with his wife and kids like that. And I don't hear so much about conservatives ever doing that. I'm sure it's happened somewhere, but I don't see that happening so much. You see it with the left, though. And Ben Shapiro, you know, Ben Shapiro may not be likable. He may talk as fast as an auctioneer. He may be a never Trumper. But one thing Ben Shapiro is not is a coward when it comes to debate. He may not have a callus on his hand. He may not know how to change a tire on his car or check the oil. I don't know. These are the things that make a man a man. But Ben Shapiro, so far as I could tell, will debate anyone. And I don't know who this liberal joker is. Now, Ben Shapiro probably won't debate him now because he got in the face of his child, got in the face of his wife when he was with them, and that's off limits and wrong. But Ben Shapiro has debated people. He will debate people. He enjoys going to college campuses and debating the snowflakes. Now, a lot of times he's kind of like Kramer in the karate episode of Seinfeld. Kramer was winning the karate tournament, but he was playing against he was in a match against 5-year-olds. But when Ben Shapiro goes to these college campuses, he's outmatched. I mean, he's outmatched them because they're kids and he's a pretty smart guy, you know. So it's an unequal playing field when he goes and debates these college kids. Plus, he's on stage with a microphone on top of the fact that he's debating children. And, you know, but I would not call Ben Shapiro a coward, even though he's not likable. You know, I don't hold him being unlikable against him because I do listen to his show on occasion. You know, maybe I could, you know, if he talked a little slower, I would enjoy the show more. And he said one thing once about talking fast. He says he has so much to share that he's got to talk fast to get everything out. And when he's talking that fast, it's just, to me, annoying, to sum it up. But it's another example of liberals attacking conservatives, and it happens time and time again. And it's not reported. You know, and in all of these instances, when a conservative is attacked by some lefty, it's always look at what happened with Governor Newsom in California. Governor Newsom in California was confronted by a very smart reporter about the homeless problem in California, and Governor Newsom starts to blame Donald Trump for the homeless problem in California. You might have seen the video. I mean, it was bizarre. I mean, we talk about just bizarre, passing the buck. You know, and this reporter, she was so smart with Governor Newsom. She says, well, the housing prices have gotten so high that, you know, people are being forced into homelessness. And it's true. It's true. You know, and I saw an article today that fewer people are moving to California today than since the year 1900, that there have not been so few people moving to California in over 100 years. And it's a terrible thing because, you know, California used to be like the dream place to go. I almost moved out there once. I had an opportunity to go out to California, and I didn't take advantage of it. And it was better that I didn't. But I was offered an opportunity many, many years ago before I was married to go out there, and I considered it, and I didn't go. But how many people used to dream of going to California? Who dreams of going to California today? There's a story, it's all over the place, about how, is it 22? There are 20, I think it's 22, it's 20-something, just over 20, congressional districts that are going to flip to Democrat because of immigration. Well, what they don't tell you is it's illegal immigration. You know, and one of the reasons that the Democrats have such a majority in the House of Representatives right now is because illegals are being counted in the census and being used to allocate congressional districts, and not just congressional districts. The illegals in these states are also giving a very strong bias to the Democrats in the Electoral College, because population is how Electoral College votes are distributed to the states as well. And if we, you know, when we were pushing, and it's unfortunate Donald Trump didn't win on this one. President Trump wanted citizenship on the census, which is a volunteer thing. You can answer anything you want on the census. If you answer the census and you say you're a citizen, they're not going to come knocking on your door double checking. But the Democrats didn't want to have that on there. Remember, I was talking with the last caller that if we knew how many guns were really in this country, it would scare even strong Second Amendment people, I think. There's so many guns in this country. Same goes for illegals. There are so many non-citizens in this country, so many illegal non-citizens in this country. The Democrats don't want an accurate number on it. It would scare people, and people would start to look at that census data and say, wow, the Democrats have 15 seats in the House of Representatives because we're counting illegal aliens to allocate congressional districts throughout the country. And that's true. And that's the main reason Democrats didn't want that on the census. They're not going to tell you that, but they would lose 10 or 15 House seats probably if we only counted. You know, that's a reality. You know, and this story today that talks about immigrants flipping a bunch of districts to Democrats, I don't know if I believe that story. There's, you know, that story, it's all over the news today. To me, sounds like a voter suppression story. They're trying to suppress the conservative vote. And we've got a big problem going into the 2020 election. And it's not illegals. The problem we have is overconfidence, because I don't know a single Trump supporter who doesn't think Donald Trump is going to be easily reelected. And when people get in this mindset that the candidate that they support is going to be easily reelected, well, a lot of people don't vote because they think, oh, I'm busy, I got to be home, there's traffic, I can't, my vote's, he's going to win any. You can lose elections that way. You can lose an entire state that way. You know, and so that's a big handicap we have going into the next election, that Trump voters are too confident of his reelection. And there's going to be a lot of stories like this story today to try to further suppress the Trump-supporting vote by saying that the illegals that we're not going to be able to take back the House. Okay, so, you know, I don't buy that story. Okay, let's take our break. 36 minutes after, I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show, on the radio since 1977. That's right. We'll take our break and be back. Don't go anywhere.
You've been told you need a medical test. What are you going to have to pay? Health test can be very expensive if you go to your doctor's office or to one of the big labs. It can cost you hundreds of dollars. Sometimes I haven't had tests because of the cost. Then I discovered Any Lab Test Now of Plantation, where they guarantee the lowest prices on all of their thousands of lab tests. Any Lab Test Now of Plantation's goal is to save you money and get you in and out in 15 minutes or less. At Any Lab Test Now of Plantation, you never need an appointment. You can walk right in and have one of their thousands of tests done for just a fraction of what the big labs or your doctor's office charges. Give them a call, 954-916-1072. 954-916-1072. Tell them what test you need, and they will give you a quote right over the phone. 954-916-1072.
Welcome. Make sure you guys subscribe.
Any Lab Test Now in Plantation is located in the Jacaranda Plaza. That's the public shopping center in Plantation.
Yeah, and I was talking earlier. I have a Patreon. It's linked in my description of the YouTube video here.
Affordable lab testing.
If you want to become a Patreon supporter.
1072.
If you suffer with diabetes, did you know there's a 25% chance that you will develop a foot ulcer at some point in your life? And foot ulcers, when you have diabetes, can lead to severe health consequences up to and including amputation. Now, Medicare recognizes the importance of preventative foot care and has provided coverage for those of you who are at-risk patients. I want to introduce you to my good friends at the Soul Authority.
Oh, yeah.
The Soul Authority. At little or no cost, you can receive your very own pair of therapeutic shoes
Over the
made
Golden
especially
Gate.
for diabetics. You're probably not aware, but as a diabetic Medicare recipient, you are entitled to one pair of high-quality diabetic shoes with 3 custom inserts per year. These are not the ugly Frankenstein shoes. These are name brand shoes. They're stylish. They'll provide you with the extra width and extra depth to stop diabetic foot problems before they begin. Oftentimes, amputation due to diabetes is preventable, and one of the preventable measures that is most effective is wearing the proper shoes. Call the Soul Authority at 954-597-7060 or online at thesoulauthority.com. That's THESOLE authority.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Avoid probate with a revocable living trust.
Wow.
$350 for single people, $450 for married couples. When you complete your trust with Attorney Barry Siegel, he will give you a $100 gift certificate to Tavolino Italian Restaurant in Coral Springs. The Siegel Law Group, with 9 offices in South Florida, including Boca Raton, Plantation, and Coral Springs. Call 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, welcome back. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Welcome back, each and every one of you. Now, I know Christmas is just a couple days away, and I've been telling you about all the incredible specials at MyPillow. They even have a special section now, Christmas special, save up to 66% off. Every special at MyPillow.com you can take advantage of when you use the promo code KANE, regardless of whose name is on it. The Mike Gallagher specials, the Hannity specials, whatever, the Pandora specials, whatever the specials are, if you use that promo code KANE, you can take advantage of it. And I know Christmas is pretty close, but you know what? They do have express shipping. I can't promise it'll be here before Christmas, but you know what I do sometimes and my wife does? It's not unusual for us to order something for someone that doesn't arrive on Christmas Day. So we wrap a picture of what we're getting and what we're waiting for, and say, you got to get this a couple days after Christmas. And, you know, people like that because Christmas is over and they still got presents coming. So use that promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, up to 66% off the Christmas specials at MyPillow.com. Good morning. Yes. Oh, yeah. See? Trolls are out. Trolls are out. I give trolls a break around Christmas because it can get lonely for a lot of men around Christmas time. I just saw here Kevin Costner Remember Kevin Costner? He used to be a movie star. Kevin Costner has endorsed Pete Buttigieg at an Iowa campaign stop. As Bernie Sanders attracts a slew of stars at an LA rally with Danny DeVito and Willow Smith. Let me tell you, my days of caring what any actor thinks about politics ended when I became an adult. But Kevin Costner, what is Kevin Costner doing supporting Mayor Pete? What is that still? Yeah, Kevin Costner still looks the same. He always looks, does not age. Oh, man. All right, let's go to the phone. I mean, that just seemed kind of bizarre to me. You know, Mayor Pete has no chance. I don't know. Maybe he just hasn't been on. The last time I saw Kevin Costner get news coverage, you know, when was the last time Kevin Costner got national news coverage? When Whitney Houston died, because they made that movie together, The Bodyguard. And that was years ago now. I know he still does TV shows and movies that nobody sees, but now he's in every newspaper, he's on TV, he's in all the websites. Kevin Costner interview. You know, and that's what movie stars, former movie stars like Kevin Costner care about most, is getting their name out there. All right, you're on the radio. Good morning. Hey, Greg, too. What's up? Are you working this week? What's your work week schedule during Christmas?
Day, tomorrow, and then off for the rest of the week.
Oh, lucky guy. Lucky guy. Okay. So I'm not the only one working.
Steve pushes you hard, so.
I know. Steve is a slave driver. No days off for me. Steve wants me to work the day after Christmas.
Well,
I'm not. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding.
Heard it from you. I want to work. I don't want to work the Friday after Christmas like 2 years ago. Come in.
Well, next year is a leap year, and Christmas actually falls on Friday next year. So I'll get a 3-day weekend next Christmas.
Well, God bless you. That's great. Kevin Costner, a great actor, by the way, but stay out of politics. I wish these actors would just stay out of politics, period, you know?
Yeah.
And et cetera, you know, and, just keep to yourself, and I don't like...
He's a great actor, but when's the last time he made something that you wanted to see? I mean, he's had some, you know...
Time is done, but he's made some great movies.
No Way Out?
Everyone fades away.
That's right.
Really, really good movies. But even now, just stay out of politics. Actors, musicians, stay out of politics. If they turn me off and I don't like their movies, or I won't go to see their movies.
Yeah, there was a time when I never missed a De Niro Scorsese movie, and because of the way he is, I haven't watched this Netflix movie that he's done. I can't get myself to watch it.
And they're the same as you and I and everyone else. Just, they think they have more power than we do, and they need to chime in on politics. And like I said, I will not watch certain movies now either when you have these liberal actors chiming in and saying things that are anti-American, conservative, etc. But also, as far as the gun laws, listen, I think guns are out of control in this country, and I'm a conservative, but there's no cure to it. Like you said, you estimate, you think there's like 1 billion?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Scary. You'll never be able to get those out of the hands of people that are going to do harm. You just can't do it.
Well, they point to these other countries, okay? And they're tiny little countries. This country was founded on a revolution, and the original soldiers used their own gun. There's a Schoolhouse Rock song. Grab your powder, grab your gun, report to General Washington is the lyric in one of the Schoolhouse Rock songs in America's Rock. They use their own gun. You're never going to take this isn't England. This isn't New Zealand. It's not Australia. It's just not going to happen. It's part of our culture. And the Democrats are too dangerous.
Democrats are lunatics. They're out of control. And Trump has caused that. He put them into like a tailspin. But let me ask this honest question to you. Do you think that if we did have guns, our government would take, control of us, that we wouldn't have the lifestyle we have? I don't believe that.
Oh, yeah, I do. Yeah. Oh, I think so. I think, yeah. I think it would, yeah. I think politicians, certainly the Democrats would, yeah. I do. I think it keeps us free.
And allow it. So, I just don't buy into that argument. That's why we need guns. Now, as far as...
I mean, look what they're trying to do. They're trying to overturn a presidential election. and they're trying to influence the next one. Yeah, of course you cannot trust the Democrats to turn in the gun. No, it just, no.
Things like, for example, you brought up your daughter in a story. Do you think 18-year-olds should be able to buy guns?
No, not today. 18 ain't what it used to be. Not today. I think really, I don't think anyone, even now, you know, we have laws. You can't buy handguns until you're 21. You can only buy rifles at 18, and I think that should be extended to. I mean, I was using guns when I was 12 hunting, you know, but 18's too young. No, and I used to go shooting a lot when I was 18, 19, 20 with friends of mine, and we'd be out at the gun range at Markham Park here in South Florida shooting AK-47s and 12 gauges and 30-30s and 357s and everything else. And, you know, we pretty responsible, but we were doing things that I, you know, wouldn't be doing today. I'm a little more responsible when I go and shoot.
Sure. I shot a gun. I've only shot a gun once in my lifetime, and it was by accident. And it was a friend's gun, and I could have killed somebody. And we were just like 19, 20 years old. You know, he had a gun. It had like an easy trigger to it. I didn't realize, and I shot it by accident by him.
Yeah. I almost shot myself once when I was hunting. When I was a kid, I was out. No, I'm serious. I've talked about this on the air. I was hunting doves with my father and another guy, and I was 12, 13, and it was the first gun I had, .410 shotgun, and we were out in a ranch off of the Kissimmee River, miles and miles from the nearest paved road, and a flock of with the .410 I had, you had to cock it was a rifle. You had to cock the hammer and then fire. I cocked the hammer. I aimed to shoot doves flying overhead. They got out of range. I didn't fire. And I had the hammer still pulled back and my finger on the trigger. And I started walking. And a few feet later, the gun went off. And there was a massive hole next to my right foot. And it was deep. And it just missed my foot. And I never told anybody at the time because I was afraid they wouldn't let me go hunting anymore. I didn't tell my dad. But I don't know if I would have survived. Now, my dad was in Vietnam. He may have been able to put a tourniquet on me and save me, but I'd be walking without a right foot today if I would have survived, and I might have bled out. It's dangerous.
And go at Leeds Road by Town Center Mall.
Mm-hmm.
And are driving his car. We had been drinking, but we're only like 19 years old. We're going back like 30 years ago, let's say. And I open up his glove compartment. What does he have? A gun.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my God, a gun. I've never even touched a gun before. So I take it out. Our windows are open. I'm pointing it outside, just like looking at it, like, wow, I never held a gun before. It went off. I could have harmed someone.
Out on the streets of Boca? And this was like 30, 40 years ago. Yeah. Yeah.
They said, thank God, A, the window was open. B, I was pointing it out. And I just said, I never held a gun before. I'm like, oh my God, you have a...
Oh my goodness.
You know, he's a responsible person. Just think what could have happened there. Lives could have changed. And we were just too irresponsible.
That's crazy.
Certain gun laws. I think the NRA has to get their grip pulled off the Republican Party and have some responsible gun laws. Don't take them all.
Well, you know, I'll tell you, when I was in sixth grade, there was a kid in my school who died accidentally. He was out hunting. He had a rifle, and he was sixth grader, and he climbed a fence and fell over the fence, and the gun went off and killed him here in Florida. You know, and there's a lot of gun accidents. Most gun deaths are suicide and accidental. Suicide and accidental in this country. Certainly handguns, But hey, look what happened last week. The federal age for tobacco now is 21, and it just happened. I didn't even know that was an issue, and it just automatic. What about all these 18 and 19-year-olds that are addicted to nicotine? How they gonna stop that?
Going to be able to solve that problem. They can get cigarettes. I mean, that's not going to be.
Well, the thing is, 18. I would imagine. Well, the thing about Yeah, but what is that responsible legislation? There's no, it's the Second Amendment. The thing is about 18 today is not what it used to be. It used to, 18, 19 used to be, back when these things happened, is you had a farm with 3 kids already, and the wife was churning butter all day or whatever they were doing. Today, 18 is like being 12 or 13 years old for most 18, yeah.
Yeah, these millennials are like, they're like, they have the mindset of like a 12-year-old. They think they're entitled to everything and they don't have to work hard like we had to. You worked your way through college, right?
Well, yeah. All right, I got to run. You too. By the way, when we were on our cruise, by the way, a lot of people were asking about you because you said you might go and you didn't come. You should think about the next one. I hear you. Well, if you go to SteveKaneShow.com, there's 2 videos. There's one video of the new ship, the Edge, and then there's another video of our last trip to the Cayman Islands into Mexico. Check them out. You'll see we have a great time. All right, take care, Greg. All right. Have a Merry Christmas. All right, we'll take our break. It is 52 minutes after 7. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Are you losing your hair? Stop hair loss in its tracks and call Dr. Mitch Matez for a free consultation. Talk to him about hormone replacement therapy. Hormone replacement therapy will stop hair loss in its tracks, and the hair you have left will grow in thicker and fuller. Stop your hair loss and call Dr. Matez, 561-953-5490, 561-953-5490. Online at hormonetherapy.BocaRaton.com.
This is Brian.
I don't know who he
I've
is.
been telling you about the great deals and incredible customer service at Friendly Tire on both new tires and used tires. One of our listeners, Antonio, went to Friendly Tire and called to share with us his experience of buying used tires at Friendly Tire in Margate.
Good morning. You're on the radio.
Hey, yes, Brian. I want to give you a quick testimony about the tire place up in Margate, Friendly Tire. Friendly Tire is everything you said it would be, man. I went up there and got me some used tires, and when I went up there, man, he was very courteous. My whole family was going for that one, man. Everything you said it was going to be, man. I appreciate you for that, man. And Mike's a great guy, man.
Well, what's your name?
Antonio.
All right, Antonio. Hey, I'm glad we could save you and your family lots of money on tires at Friendly Tire.
Oh, no doubt, man. Thanks so much, man.
Do what Antonio did. Stop into Friendly Tire and find incredible deals on both new and used tires. Give Friendly Mike a call right now. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. And Mike will give you a quote right over
Well,
the
that's
phone.
right, Crystal. You're right. I know. That's the problem.
977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate.
This is Lori Kane, and I want to tell you about.
Yeah,
my
offices are
dental care.
usually
I
there's
started a lot
office
of
people
work
here
for
already, and I don't hear
avoided
anybody in the
going to
building.
Dentist for a lot of years because I was afraid of the cost. But I went to Brighton Dental for my free consultation, which, by the way, he offers to all Steve Kane listeners. I had 2 cavities. I needed a crown on top and a crown on the bottom. If I were a horse, they would have put me down. So I scheduled my appointment for the next Saturday because Brighton Dental has Saturday appointments available, and they saved me a ton of money. And I will be a patient for life. Don't let cost stop you from taking care of your teeth. Brighton Dental gives Steve Kane listeners incredible discounts on all dental procedures, just like they gave me. Prices are so reasonable, you don't have to worry about the cost. So call Brighton Dental today at 954-922-4633. That's 954-922-4633. You can visit them at brightondental.com and tell them Lori Kane sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All righty. Welcome back. I'm Brian. 2 days before Christmas. Counting down till Christmas. I'm so glad that these West Point cadets got cleared of the liberal slanders about the OK sign. They did an investigation. West Point investigated these cadets with the OK sign. It's not white supremacy. And we were on the cutting edge here on the Steve Kane Show because when this was an issue a couple weeks ago, I got a call from a guy who was in the Army. Remember this guy? And he said this circle with the fingers is like a joke that they do in the service, that they make this OK looking sign, they put it down at their crotch level, and if a guy looks at your hand, it's like he's checking out your business, which is, you know how that goes. And that this is an ongoing thing that's been going on in the military. And West Point investigated the cadets and cleared them, and there was actually a confrontation a little bit between Juan Williams on the 5 the other day, on Friday, about him refusing to apologize, that the OK symbol is a symbol of white supremacy. And I remember this issue came up a year or so ago, and Eddie Murphy, who I thought did a pretty good job on, I watched Eddie Murphy's skits on Saturday Night Live online from this week. I thought he did pretty good. But Eddie Murphy used to do that OK sign at the end of his movies. I don't know if he still does it, but he used to. Beverly Hills Cop and all that. Remember at the end in the credits? That was like his I'll be back kind of thing. I don't know if he still does that, Eddie Murphy. But they, what happened with the OK sign with the West Point cadets was the media and the Democrats punishing our cadets at West Point for giving the president a standing ovation at the Army-Navy game. If you remember, both sides, right? The midshipmen and cadets gave the president, their commander-in-chief, a standing ovation when he came into the game. And the media don't like that. So to discount the support and to punish the cadets, they branded them white nationalist. Because they wanted to portray the cadets as being white nationalist, and that's why they were giving Trump a standing ovation, because they've got this whole thing that he's a white nationalist, which is just absurd. Of course we're opposed to white nationalist Nazis and these people, but this false narrative of this rise of white supremacy is so absurd. If there was a rise, if there was a movement of white supremacists in this country, why would they rise up now? It seems to me that the white supremacists would have been rising up when we had a black president elected and reelected, that would really upset the white nationalist, having a black president. The white nationalist, I'm not saying that there aren't white nationalists in this country, but there's a handful of them. There's very few. It's not like the old days when the Democrats were organized in that area, okay? There's just a handful of white nationalists. They're not Republican. They're not Democrat anymore. And they're totally on the fringes of our society. In fact, there was a couple years ago, CNN, they have that, who's that comedian, the black comedian on CNN, that Kamal Ball on CNN. I think is he still on CNN? And he did a whole special, his first show, he went and interviewed the Klan, and he went to a Klan, looked like a cross-burning rally. And he's a black guy. He's meeting these Klansmen out in a field, a black man from CNN. Come on. What a joke, right? Back in the days when they were a real organization of power, that wouldn't have happened, right? But it's one of the biggest. So that whole story with the West Point cadets was because they gave the president a standing ovation at the Army-Navy game, and then someone snapped that photograph and like, oh, we got him. We're gonna discount that standing O. And we're going to teach them never to stand and applaud this guy again. And boom, discredited. And of course, discredited a week before Christmas. Fake news story, exposed right before Christmas, and there's no apologies. There's very little coverage of it outside of conservative circles, and it's a terrible thing. Terrible thing what they did to the cadets. It really, truly is. All right, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. 2 hours down. This show is flying by. I thought today's show was going to be a slow going. A couple days before Christmas and all, but it's not. The show is flying by. 2 hours down, 1 to go. My name is Brian Craig. This is Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Third and final hour begins now.
Money Talk Network is 95.3 FM, 96.9 FM, 103.9 FM, and AM 1470 WWNN Pompano Beach.
Medical billing sticker shock. Ever have that happen to you? You go to your mailbox and get a bill for a routine test, and you owe lots of money. You thought it was covered by your insurance, but it wasn't. The cost of healthcare shouldn't break your budget, and you know what? It doesn't have to. This is Brian Craig, and I want to save you a lot of money on lab tests, like cholesterol test, diabetes test, thyroid screenings, drug test, STD test, and whatever other test you need. These are common lab tests, but can cost hundreds of dollars if you go to your doctor's office or to one one of the big labs, but there is a solution at any lab test now of Plantation where you will save money, big money, on medical tests. Save time too. In and out in 15 minutes or less. Avoid medical billing sticker shock. I've been going to any lab test now at Plantation for years now for my lab test, and they've saved me thousands of dollars on my test. If you have any questions or want a quote on a lab test, give them a call. 954-916-1072. 954-916-1072. The Any Lab Test Now at Plantation staff will answer any questions you have, or just stop by. No appointment is needed. No doctor's order or prescription either. Any Lab Test Now at Plantation is located in the Jacaranda Plaza. That's the public shopping center in Plantation, just west of University Drive, on the north side of Sunrise Boulevard. When you stop in, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show. 954-916-1072. 954-916-1072 for Any Lab Test Now of Plantation.
This is Steve Kane with an incredible special from our friends at Brighton Dental. 8 Emax veneers at Brighton Dental, just $49.99. All the other dentists in town charge $10,000 for the exact same veneers. 10 Emax veneers, $59.99 at Brighton Dental. These are the very same veneers that other dentists in town are charging $12,000 for. Get the Hollywood smile you have always dreamed of. Call Brighton Dental at 954-922-4633.
Did you know that your skin is your largest organ? Yet, it's probably the most neglected. Living in South Florida means having an annual checkup for skin cancer is vital. We live in the Sunshine State after all, and our skin bears the brunt of the sunshine. It's time to have your annual skin checkup. There's no better doctor to take care of this for you than Dr. Jose Mendez. Dr. Mendez is a board-certified dermatologist, and when it comes to caring for your skin and making sure that it is healthy as possible and skin cancer-free, you want Dr. Mendez as your personal dermatologist. Dr. Mendez is caring and very knowledgeable. Your annual skin cancer exam is covered by Medicare. Dr. Mendez also takes most other insurances. Steve Kane recently had his annual skin cancer checkup. It was easy breezy. Dr. Mendez examined him from head to toe, took off a few things, and now Steve is good to go. Call Dr. Mendez right now at 954-431-7681. 954-431-7681. When you call, make sure to ask for Sarah. She takes extra good care of Steve Kane listeners and will get you an appointment fast. Early detection of skin cancer can save your life. Call Dr. Mendez right now at 954-431-7681. 954-431-7681.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Avoid probate with a revocable living trust. $350 for single people, $450 for married couples.
Oh, boy.
Complete your trust with Attorney Barry Siegel. He will give you a $100 gift certificate to Tavolino Italian.
Oh, you're right, Mike. No doubt about that.
The Siegel Law Group, with 9 offices in South Florida, including Boca Raton, Plantation, and Coral Springs. Call 1-855-FLA-3782. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its staff.
The Steve Kane Show is live at Morning Drive, 6 till 9 a.m. weekdays, and overnights, midnight till 6.
Ah, yes. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. On the radio since 1977, third and final hour has begun. We are here live on this Christmas week. We will be live tomorrow. We will be off on Christmas for sure. We'll definitely be back on Friday. And Thursday, well, that's still up in the air. We haven't decided what we're going to do Thursday, the day after Christmas. My vote is to take Thursday off, but we'll see what happens. You know, President Trump has been doing something completely miraculous, and it involves judges. And this is an article from a couple days ago in the New York Post. As House Democrats try to force President Trump out of office, Senate Republicans have been plowing ahead with his plan to transform the federal judiciary. A record number of judicial confirmations is submitting one of Trump's central campaign pledges. When Trump took office, 9 of the nation's 13 circuit courts, these are federal circuit courts, were dominated by Democratic appointees. Now, 7 of them have Republican majorities. Trump has had 50 of his circuit court judges confirmed, far more than any other recent president at this point in their first term. So he's had 50. Obama had 25. Altogether, 187 Trump-nominated federal judges have been confirmed by the Senate, outpacing 169 by George W. Bush and 166 by Bill Clinton in their first 3 years. And this is an amazing one. This is in Politico, where they're not very happy about this. This is Politico. A bastion of liberalism in the federal judiciary is slowly turning rightward, threatening Democratic court challenges on everything from abortion to who gets a green card. The Senate confirmation of Lawrence Van Dyke and Patrick Bumate to the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals this month brought to 9 the number of appointments President Donald Trump has made to the 29-member bench that serves as the last stop for nearly all legal complaints lodged in 9 Western states. The 9th Circuit is that one that the liberals go to whenever they're losing, right? Democratic appointed judges now hold a 3-seat majority compared with 11-seat majority at the start of Trump's presidency. If the trend continues, it represents a major shift in the liberal wing of the judiciary, meaning lawsuits for progressive causes won't find a friendly ear as easily as they have. The 9th Circuit has been the go-to venue for activist state attorneys eager to freeze Trump policies on health care, immigration, and other social issues. It ruled against Trump's weakening of Obamacare's contraceptive mandate, as well as multiple versions of his travel ban. That's right. Now it's weighing the administration's overhaul of the federal family planning program. It goes on and on. See, and this is an interesting thing. The liberals on the 9th Circuit still have a majority, 3-seat, not 9. And with that slim majority, what also happens is, with having so many more conservatives there, even though other judges might lean left, there's a little bit of peer pressure there from the conservatives because they don't have this overwhelming majority, right, any longer that they had on the 9th Circuit. So there's right-minded conservatives who interpret the Constitution accurately as opposed to being activist. And that has influence over even these liberal judges who might think about things in a different way or not feel so gutsy to rule in a way that they know is wrong. You know, Politico, basically, this is like, you know, this is the end of liberal activism as they're losing this 9th Circuit. And they're right. Judges should not be activists, and that's the problem. You know, anytime you hear activist judges, they're really talking about liberal judges. And the difference between a liberal judge and a conservative judge is pretty simple. Conservative judges make rulings based on the Constitution, not their own opinions or how they feel things should be or want things to be. They rule in favor of someone's rights or what the Constitution, what the laws rule. Liberal judges, they make rulings not based on the Constitution, but based on how they think things should be or the way they feel or where their sympathies are. You know, that those are activists. And you will find on occasion conservative judges ruling in favor of liberals or something that you might find morally reprehensible because under the Constitution, they have rights. You may not like them, but they have rights. And conservative judges, that's why sometimes there'll be rulings where you hear, you know, Justice Kavanaugh might rule with liberals or something. It's not because he agrees with what that position is. It's because, the one example I use a lot is internet pornography was being, there were a lot of internet pornography cases when the internet was new. And Scalia ruled in favor of pornographers. Not because he agreed with pornography or pornographers, but under the Constitution, they have First Amendment protections too. That's not how liberals operate. Liberals like, I don't like you, you lost. You know, don't even waste your breath. We're activists. We think the world should be this way, so here's another phrase, legislating from the bench. Liberals legislate from the bench. In fact, I remember during the 2000 recount, when the Democrats, Al Gore's camp, kept going to court. They were judge shopping for liberal judges who would be sympathetic to them. So, you know, when you have conservative majorities on courts, you're going to get a more fair hearing regardless of who you are with a conservative as opposed with a liberal. Because liberals don't care about the law and the Constitution. I know the Democrats during their impeachment vote were obsessing over this, you know, Constitution this, Constitution that, you know, and all this. But that's a lie. They don't care. And President Trump's legacy will be this. It will be this. You know, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I remember years ago, Ruth Bader Ginsburg said that judges should look at constitutions in other countries when making decisions. Remember that? That's craziness. What? I never heard that before. Now Ruth Bader Ginsburg is out there saying that senators, since they'll be sitting on a jury, should be fair and impartial jurors. And if they're not fair and impartial, they shouldn't be sitting on the Senate jury. Well, that's not how the system works. Okay? I'm sorry. And, you know, liberals, of course, are jumping all over this. They're all excited. That's right. Lindsey Graham and the rest, they're not allowed to be on the Senate jury. Why did Nancy Pelosi not send the articles of impeachment? We really don't know. We really don't know the exact reason. There's so much speculation. But, you know, I think one of the reasons, I don't think Nancy Pelosi wanted to impeach President Trump. And she was forced into it by a lot of powers that be. Not just the squad, but by others. So by not transmitting them to the Senate for the trial, she's playing both sides there a little bit. You know, Lindsey Graham said he thinks that she's going to do it eventually. And she probably will, because if we take back the House, this was some interesting... You know, we're in a whole new territory now, so far as this impeachment goes, because I do believe that he has not been impeached until they complete the... You just can't have a vote. You got to finish it. You know, if we take back the House and they've not transmitted it, we can overturn that impeachment on day one, and they'll do it. They'll do it in the first 5 minutes. They'll just do it right there. That would be what they'd be running on, would be to overturn that. So she will eventually probably transmit it, because... I mean, she's looking like a fool. They'll put it off till after the first of the year because they're gone now. They're back in their home districts. Although the clerks are still there, aren't they still in? I'm sure they still are. They could still do it today and tomorrow and Thursday or Friday. Can't do it on Christmas, but they could still do it. And we may wake up one morning or turn on the TV one afternoon and boom, she did it finally. She's eventually going to do it because she's looking like a fool. But she really, you know, what she's trying to do now is control the trial process in the Senate. And until Nancy is satisfied, she's not going to send it over there for a trial until she decides it's fair. You know, it's amazing how what tyrants the left are, because they just, the left just don't see it. I was watching CNN's Brian Stelter. And after the break, I want to play this clip of Brian Stelter was talking about the polling on impeachment. This is wonderful. I got to tell you, Brian Stelter with the, you know, CNN, that Project Veritas expose with the CNN whistleblower a few weeks back. Boy, that fizzled out, didn't it? I mean, CNN just boom. That was some hardcore exposure of CNN, and boom, just fizzled away. It's a shame, isn't it? It really is. You know, what I would like to know from Project Veritas, that all these lower-level technical people that were caught on the hidden camera of the CNN whistleblower, what has happened to them? Project Veritas really should follow those people, because they may not get rid of them now, but those people that were caught on the hidden camera by the CNN whistleblower, I promise you, they're on the list. And they're going to want to try to get rid of them at some point. All right, let's take our break. When we get back, I'm going to get into some of the sound bites of the day, which I haven't really played too much yet. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll be right back.
This is Steve Kane. When it comes to looking your best, sometimes you need a little extra help. Dr. Nathan at the Nathan Clinic is a renowned plastic surgeon here in South Florida who will bring out your most beautiful self. Dr. Nathan, highly skilled, knows how to reveal your inner beauty and make you look your absolute best. He's a board-certified plastic surgeon. People come from miles around just because of his extraordinary skills and his caring bedside manner. Dr. Nathan performs breast augmentations, facelifts, Botox, tummy tucks, liposuction, and much, much more. Visit his website. Read the testimonials from his patients. They love Dr. Nathan, and you will too. He has years of experience and impressive credentials that make Dr. Nathan the only plastic surgeon you need visit. He'll advise you and tell you the best course of action so that you will always remain true to who you are. You can contact Dr. Nathan for a no-charge consultation by calling
Yes, Merry Christmas to everybody.
680-5121. That's area code 305-680-5121 or online at drnathan.com. Tell him you heard it on the Steve Kane Show. Right now, the U.S. is in the midst of a deadly opioid epidemic. In South Florida alone, someone suffers an overdose every 2 hours, either from heroin, fentanyl, or some other prescription medication that's as close as the family medicine cabinet. In fact, Mom and Dad's medicine cabinet is frequently the gateway to the horrors of hardcore addiction down the road. Drug problems left unattended are only going to get worse. This is not something you can do on your own. You need expert professional help, and if your family is disintegrating in front of your eyes and you feel helpless, I'm here to tell you that help is available. Call my good friend Sal at the Edge Recovery, 561 area code 523-4325. This is his personal cell phone, 561-523-4325. If your loved one refuses treatment, the Edge Recovery will conduct an intervention and get them into the treatment plan that they need. The Edge Recovery offers every option from intervention to 30-day rehab to sober living to counseling with a licensed therapist, as well as group therapy treatment. It's covered by most insurance, but no matter what your situation is, the Edge Recovery has options for you. Call Sal at the Edge Recovery. Do it today. 561 area code 523-4325. Again, that's Sal's personal cell phone, 561-523-4325.
Stop paying an outrageous fortune for your tires. Go easy on your budget and buy your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, where they have all the major brands like Goodyear and Firestone at discount prices that absolutely can't be beaten. Steve Kane's tires for his Toyota van at the other shops, $175 a tire. At Friendly Tire, just $75 a tire. That's a $100 savings per tire. Tires for my daughter Emily's car, $135 at the shops around town. The price at Friendly Tire, only $65. That's a $70 savings per tire. These prices are out the door and on the road. Free mounting and balancing and no added charges. Friendly Tire have a great selection of good used tires too, starting at just $30 for most cars. Call my good buddy Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire. Tell him what you drive and he will give you a great low price right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, welcome back. Yeah, I got a tag on Twitter over the weekend. One of our listeners, Dave, this was on Saturday, says, "Hi, Brian. Thanks for your help on directing me where to buy tires. I'm at Friendly Tire in Margate." He was tweeting me as he was at Friendly Tire. "And I will be buying a tire to replace my flat tire. I'm getting a great deal," with an exclamation mark. Thanks again. And yeah, Friendly Tire. Now, Friendly Tire, they're closed on Christmas, but they're open the rest of the week. Friendly Tire is open today. They're open tomorrow, Christmas Eve, and they're open the day after Christmas, as well as Friday and Saturday this week as well. So Friendly Tire closed on Christmas, but they're open the whole rest of the week. So if you need tires, that's a great way to go. And it's also a great Christmas gift for people in your family. Get them some tires over at Friendly Tire. You hear how great the deals are. You cannot beat that. You know, now we're moving into oh, by the way, with Nancy Pelosi, she didn't transmit the articles of impeachment, but she sent the invite to the president for the State of the Union. Just bizarre. What's going on? What is going on? We're now moving into the phase where they're actually talking about debating. I saw Cory Booker's talking about he wants to debate Trump one-on-one. I'm sure you do, Cory Booker. I'm sure you do. Now, listen to this. Doug Weed, he's a conservative commentator. This is in Fox News. Doug Weed, a conservative commentator who has interviewed President Trump, told President Trump that nearly all the past debate moderators can be described as leaning to the left. The research by Doug Weed, who worked in George H.W. Bush's White House, is a mixed bag. In some cases, the memo points to past comments or episodes that could concern a Republican candidate. In other cases, it merely links to critiques from conservative outlets and citations that are of unnamed friends believe the person is left-leaning. And in still others, the evidence provided actually shows their fairness in debates. Again, this is a Fox News story. The Weed effort raises the philosophical question of whether journalists can separate personal opinions that might fall to the liberal side from the performance of their jobs, especially on the presidential debate stage. Trump, who the New York Times says may skip the debates out of concern about the moderators, recently tweeted an attack on the Commission on Presidential Debates, which has staged every general election debate since 1988. The president, and by the way, the president, that's Donald Trump, you liberals out there, the president said the panel is stacked with Trump haters and never Trumpers. That is so true. And that he might seek a different venue to avoid the nasty politics of this very biased commission. The commission, which generally has Republican and Democratic co-chairs, said our record is one of fairness, balance, and nonpartisanship. What debate did not lean to the left, huh? The Weed memo says, for instance, that CNN's Anderson Cooper, a co-moderator in 2016, has launched vitriolic attacks on conservatives, citing one comment about Sarah Sanders going from stonewalling all the way to lying. The memo from Doug Weed calls Bill Moyers, a 1980 moderator, a proud liberal Democrat. He was an aide to Lyndon Johnson. Former CNN anchor Candy Crawley took heat during a 2012 debate by interrupting Mitt Romney to side with Obama in a dispute over what the 44th president said after Benghazi. Remember that? Hey, Candy, if you look on page 3, it's highlighted there. You could tell there was coordination between Obama and CNN there. And, of course, remember CNN, right? Donna Brazile gave the debate questions to Hillary prior to the debate in the last election. I don't see that listed in the story here on Fox because now they have Donna Brazile working for them. They don't want to rehash Donna Brazile's ethics, I guess. Weed finds reason to criticize journalists widely viewed as fair, such as Jim Lehrer, who served as a moderator 12 times. He cites conservative criticism of former ABC anchor Charlie Gibson. And it goes on and on and on. You know, Trump should not do the presidential debates in the formats in which we've seen them before. I think the debates are kind of out of date anyway today. But I don't think the debate, what the debates have become are really ratings things for the networks, and they're all biased. The very fact, let me just skim the rest of this story, because this is a Fox News story, and I don't see, they talk about Lester Holt, Carol Simpson of ABC, Chris Wallace, no. So here's Fox News. There's not one comment on the CNN debate questions being given to Hillary Clinton before her debate with Trump by Donna Brazile. See, Fox News, because they have Donna Brazile working there. They don't want to bring that up. See, even Fox, you got to watch Fox News, people. Got to not watch them on TV. You got to watch what they're doing because they're snakes as well. But I'm not sure what the debate formats should be. But what the debates have become are just ratings grabbers for the news networks and opportunities to handpick their chosen candidate. And they always ask questions siding with the liberals, all of them, especially now with this president who's a political outsider. Now, how the debate should be handled, I don't know. The news should be completely out of it. My original thought on this when we were first talking about this was President Trump would be to have some random drawing of local news reporters, but even that, because if local news reporters, and I like the local news, most local news reporters are all right, they're real journalists, but once they get an opportunity to be in a presidential debate, they're all going to be itching to get the network job, so you can't trust that either. I don't think there should be commentators. I think the debate, as so far as they are today, I think the candidates should be the moderators and the questioners. I think the candidates should ask questions of one another. I think would be the most fair way to do it. And if that was, because the candidates are supposed to be politically opposite of one another on the belief system, and these are, when you're at the presidential candidate level, I think that's spectacular. No random questions off of Twitter or YouTube or reporters. No questions from the audience drawn at random, and all that nonsense. No reporters spending weeks crafting questions and rehearsing debates. Have President Trump up there with whoever the Democrat nominee is, and have them ask questions of each other. And I think that would be spectacular. It would be, you can't get any more fair and balanced than that. And the questions could get pretty rough from both. Did you have sex with that woman, Stormy Daniels? That would be a fair question. No, I did not. I'm a germ freak. You think I'm going to have sex with a porn star? What's the matter with you? Don't you know who I am? I'm Donald Trump. But if they were up there asking questions of one another, you couldn't claim... look what they did to President Trump, and it's not mentioned in this article. Remember the one debate where they had the microphone set at the wrong level so that he had to lean forward? Remember all of these complaints? They play all kinds of games. And I think if they were asking questions of one another, not audience, not fake people in the audience who claim to be this or that, that would be a way to really see who they are. When they take questions from the audience, it's never random. No, it's never random. And I think a debate is good. I think it could be very positive and informative. Nothing wrong with having debate. But if they ask questions of one another, you can't get any better than that. You can't claim bias, because let me tell you, you get a Democrat up there, whoever their nominee is, and they start asking tough questions of President Trump, they're going to get questions back just as tough from President Trump, and it's not going to be pretty, because all the Democrats are pretty flawed people. And there's things to ask President Trump, which if a Democrat nominee was no holds barred and they were asking anything they wanted, there's a lot of questions that he probably would prefer not to be asked. But I don't think he would complain about fairness, and you know what? I don't think any of us would complain about fairness. Because these Democrats, they cheat. They give the questions to the candidates to rehearse. When Donna Brazile gave the questions to Hillary Clinton, it was that so she could rehearse and be prepared. If the candidates are asking them of one another, you have no idea what's coming. There would be no bias whatsoever. That would be beautiful. That would be beautiful. And there would be bad... And if they did this in every future presidential debate... Now, the networks wouldn't like this because, one, they lose control, and they like to use these debates to make stars. Look at this Democrat debate the other night. I played the clip on Friday where the one PBS reporter asked if they would support federal legislation to relocate people and businesses because of climate change from coastal cities. Come on. This is stupid. These candidates, they cheat... because they're in collusion with the media. And it wasn't just Brazile. There was another debate moderator that was caught coordinating with Hillary Clinton's campaign as well, from one of the financial networks. I can't remember what the name of the guy was offhand. I'll have to look it up. But they are always in collusion. And especially when you have someone who's a complete political outsider like President Trump, there is no way... No matter who is asking, if we had it, I know a lot of people will say, well, let's have Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity there. Well, that wouldn't be fair either, would it? Because they're too in love with Trump like I am. I couldn't be a debate moderator. Sean Hannity couldn't. Rush Limbaugh, we're biased. So are the media, all of them. And bias is just by the question selection. So if the candidates are asking, if Trump is up there with any Democrat and they're asking questions of each other, boy, would that we would see our presidential candidates in ways we've never seen them before, and you would find out who can stand up and be a tough leader in the face of opposition and who can't. I think Donald Trump would win. I mean, what Democrat, if they were asking the questions of one another, could Trump not beat? Right? I mean, you look at someone like, let's say it's Bernie Sanders, socialist, Medicare for all. He got a multimillionaire communist. You've got Elizabeth Warren, who was committing fraud about her ethnicity her entire adult life. You've got Joe Biden with, all of his scandals. Trump's got flaws. They could bring things up with Trump. Stormy Daniels, that Playboy girl, the Miss Universe. There's the Access Hollywood. There's things that the Democrats could bring up to him too that would be embarrassing, that he would rather not be asked. But at least it would be a fair format, because he could ask anything of them too. And so far as the time limits, they could set up whatever times there are, and then the mic gets cut off. Maybe put them in sound booths so that when the mic gets cut off, you still can't hear them. You know what I'm talking about? There are ways to do it. And I think that's the best way. All right, 32 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show. You certainly are, The Steve Kane Show. On the radio since 1977. Our number is toll-free from anywhere. 1-888-GO-KANE 1. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Don't forget, visit our website, stevekaneshow.com. We'll take our break for the bottom of the hour and be right back.
New Toyota of Hollywood. For the past 4 years in a row, Toyota of Hollywood has been #1 in volume for Toyota sales in the southeast region of the United States. There are lots of places you can shop for a new car, but there is only one Toyota of Hollywood.
Okay. Be right back, guys.
Treated like royalty. The service you receive at Toyota of Hollywood is second to none. No high-pressure sales, no hassle, no haggling, just the best deal on the brand new Toyota of your choice. At Toyota of Hollywood, there is a full line of new and pre-owned Toyotas, sure to meet the needs of you and your family. I drive a Sienna van, plenty of room, not only for the kids, but for the grandkids as well. It's roomy, it's comfortable, it drives like a dream. And then there's my favorite model of Toyota, the Camry. I've owned 3 of them over the years, and boy, are they made to last. That's right, you take care of your Toyota, it will take care of you. Then, of course, as a starter car for the kids in college, the fabulous Corolla, the ultimate in driving efficiency, priced perfectly for that first car. When you shop at Toyota of Hollywood, make sure you ask for Steve Ostrov. That's right, he's the GM. He's a big Steve Kane fan, and he is going to give you the deal of a lifetime. The new Toyota of Hollywood, 400,000 square feet with the most gorgeous Toyota automobiles you have ever seen. Located between Sheridan Street and Hollywood Boulevard on Highway 441, open till midnight. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
So you've been told you need a medical test. What are you going to have to pay? Health test can be very expensive if you go to your doctor's office or to one of the big labs. It can cost you hundreds of dollars. Sometimes I haven't had tests because of the cost. Then I discovered Any Lab Test Now of Plantation, where they guarantee the lowest prices on all of their thousands of lab tests. Any Lab Test Now of Plantation's goal is to save you money and get you in and out in 15 minutes or less. At Any Lab Test Now of Plantation, you never need an appointment. You can walk right in and have one of their thousands of tests done for just a fraction of what the big labs or your doctor's office charges. Give them a call, 954-916-1072. 954-916-1072. Tell them what test you need, and they will give you a quote right over the phone. 954-916-1072. Any Lab Test Now at Plantation is located in the Jacaranda Plaza. That's the public shopping center in Plantation, just west of University Drive, on the north side of Sunrise Boulevard. Any Lab Test Now at Plantation, private and affordable lab testing. 954-916-1072.
If you suffer with diabetes, did you know there's a 25% chance that you will develop a foot ulcer at some point in your life? And foot ulcers, when you have diabetes, can lead to severe health consequences up to and including amputation. Now, Medicare recognizes the importance of preventative foot care and has provided coverage for those of you who are at-risk patients. I want to introduce you to my good friends at the Soul Authority. At the Soul Authority, at little or no cost, you can receive your very own pair of therapeutic shoes made specially for diabetics. You're probably not aware, but as a diabetic Medicare recipient, you are entitled to one pair of high-quality diabetic shoes with 3 custom inserts per year. These are not the ugly Frankenstein shoes. These are name-brand shoes. They're stylish. They'll provide you with the extra width and extra depth to stop diabetic foot problems before they begin. Oftentimes, amputation due to diabetes is preventable, and one of the preventable measures that is most effective is wearing the proper shoes. Call the Soul Authority at 954-597-7060 or online at thesoulauthority.com. That's THESOLE authority.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Avoid probate with a revocable living trust. $350 for single people, $450 for married.
Show's flown by today. I can't believe.
Attorney Barry Siegel. He will give you a $100 gift.
No, not necessarily, Connie.
Italian restaurant in Coral Springs. The Siegel Law Group with 9
I did not, Sarah.
Florida, including Boca Raton.
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, you caught me off guard. Yeah, the Baldy, yes, I did. My wife showed that to me yesterday. I did see that, yes. You caught me off guard.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show.
I thought you meant like the Eagles, the band. All right, welcome back. This show has flown by. Oh, my goodness, 37 minutes after 8. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. That's right, it's Christmas week. We're here live. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, I'm Erica. I'm in North Carolina.
Uh-huh. What's up? You're on the air.
I was just wanted to, because I'm not sure if anyone told you yet, but that confrontation with Ben Shapiro was from a young man named Nick Fuentes.
Yeah.
And he's part of this remnant of dissident right, people on the right. So he's not a liberal. I was like Tucker Carlson.
Uh-huh.
Like Ann Coulter on stage.
Well, this is interesting. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, so this is interesting to me that you say this because maybe you can help me explain this. He is a neo-Nazi Holocaust denier, the guy that confronted Ben Shapiro, right? Yeah, he is. He's a Holocaust denier. He's a neo-Nazi Holocaust denier. Yeah, he is. Well, explain this to me, because I don't, maybe you can help me. What about him is right-wing? Because like Donald Trump's right-wing, I'm right-wing. So what about this Holocaust denier is right-wing?
Well, he doesn't deny the Holocaust.
No, that's what's being reported. Well, what about him is right-wing? Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay, so slow down. See, that's interesting. So that's not a right-wing position on immigration. That's not right-wing is conservative. What you just described to me is not the conservative right-wing position on immigration. What about what you told me about this guy that confront you say he's right-wing because of his immigration position. What about his immigration position makes me think and say that he's not right-wing on immigration? You just said it.
Yeah, that's what
He's not right-wing on immigration. Now, excuse me. What you said is that he's for a moratorium on immigration, both illegal and legal. Conservative right-wingers that support President Trump are not opposed to legal immigration. Our First Lady, Melania Trump, is a legal immigrant to the United States. We're not opposed to legal immigration. We're opposed to illegal immigration. There's a difference. So this guy's not right-wing.
He is, though.
No, he's not. Well, okay, give that. Well, he's when it comes to immigration, he's not right-wing. Right-wing people, if you want to use that term, are in favor of legal immigration. Like our First Lady came here legally. What other position would you say is right-wing of his, since we've exposed that one?
He's socially conservative, too.
On what? On what? What is he socially conservative on? President Trump is not anti-gay. He appointed a gay man to be ambassador, what was it, to Germany? He said that Caitlyn Jenner could use the ladies' room at Trump Tower. The right-wing positions of Donald Trump, no, it doesn't fit into that at all.
Still voting for him because on the evangelical side, everything else with judges and how pro-life he is, he gets my vote.
Yeah.
But
no, this guy is not right-wing. See, here's the deal, okay? Here's the deal with this is the deal. No, hold on. This is the deal with white nationalists, okay? Like this, from what we know about this guy. White nationalists are not part of the political mainstream. They're not liberal or conservative. They're neither. Not by the standards that we have today for our politicians. And you might be able to find isolated incidents where they agree with this party or that party, but white nationalists, Ku Klux Klanmen of today and things like this, they're not Republican or Democrat. They are outside of the political norms of our society, and to try to take any white nationalist and portray them as either of the two major political parties, it just doesn't apply. And what do you think the main goal of somebody that's a white nationalist is today, like this guy? What do you think their main agenda is? Well, they're calling him that. So what do you think people like this, what their primary agenda is?
I don't agree with this man on...
No. Hold on. What do you think their primary agenda is? People that are white...
To stop the movement. Look at what happened in Virginia. Look at what's happening about to be Texas.
Well, not anymore, does he?
He has a point. Like, I hate to agree with him.
Oh, no. Listen. The main point of white nationalists today is to self-promote and try to grow their movement, okay? And to do that, they want relevancy. So they get relevancy by attaching themselves to the political issues of the day. They're neither Republican nor Democrat. They're neither right nor left, so far as we define it in our mainstream politics. They're in some other fringe group that are not relevant to the political dialogue. They inject themselves into it for publicity and self-promotion.
But I think, honestly, every major poll that has been done on immigration, it's very mainstream. People want less of it.
No. Conservatives are not opposed to legal immigration, only illegals coming into the country and saying, I'm here, take care of me. Conservatives are not opposed to legal immigration at all. It's illegal. It's the illegal migration they're opposed to. Yeah.
I want my pro-life views protected. I want my Second Amendment rights protected. But that won't matter if we are bringing in people, by and large, in that.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing you've got to watch out for with people like this, the white nationalists, Holocaust deniers, whatever, the David Duke types that we're talking about. Okay? Who promotes white nationalist and Klansmen more than anyone. What organization of people, what group of people are always talking about white nationalist and Klansmen, white supremacist?
What group of people who are always talking about that?
Mm-hmm. Today?
Would you say racist?
No. Democrats in the media. Liberals, Democrats, the media, because they make them irrelevant. Like, for example, David Duke used to be a big deal in the 90s, right? Hadn't heard from David Duke in years. All of a sudden, Donald Trump's talking about building a wall. I turn on CNN, David Duke's on CNN. Okay? Fred Phelps, the anti-gay minister who's passed away, the creation of the left. The left are the ones that make these fringe lunatics relevant because they need them to try to portray Republicans, conservatives, as them. Like, look at this nonsense where the OK sign now is a symbol of white supremacy that the left have created. That's another example.
Stupid. We know this. We all agree on that.
Well, I got to run for our break, but these white supremacists, they're irrelevant. They're not political. They're not politically connected. But the media prop them up and call them right-wing and get people like you calling them right-wing to try to damage Republicans. All right, listen, we got to run for a break. It's 47 minutes after 8. I'm Brian. This is the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back.
Lori Kane, and I want to tell you about Brighton Dental Care. I just had a lot of work done, and I avoided going to the dentist for a lot of years because I was afraid of the cost. But I went to Brighton Dental for my free consultation, which, by the way, he offers to all Steve Kane listeners. I had 2 cavities. I needed a crown on top and a crown on the bottom. If I were a horse, they would have put me down. So I scheduled my appointment for the next Saturday because Brighton Dental has Saturday appointments available, and they saved me a ton of money. And I will be a patient for life. Don't let cost stop you from taking care of your teeth. Brighton Dental gives Steve Kane listeners incredible discounts on all dental procedures, just like they gave me. Prices are so reasonable, you don't have to worry about the cost. So call Brighton Dental today at 954-922-4633. That's 954-922-4633.
Make sure everyone subscribes on YouTube, all right?
Visit them at brightondental.com and tell them Lori Kane sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, welcome back. It's Christmas week. I'm Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show. It's time to check in with William Youngerman with the Morning Gold Report. How are the metals doing on Christmas week, William Youngerman?
Actually, very well, Brian. Gold up $4.60 this morning, breaking through the 1480 barrier that we had for a little bit of a while. We did break through it last Friday, although it managed to push back below 1480. It's up $4.60 this morning at $1,483. Silver was the only metal that closed up Friday and has been breaking out also above the $17 resistance number, up 16 cents this morning at $17.35 the ounce. Platinum up $11 this morning at $918, while palladium is down $2 at $1,839. Palladium got up to almost $2,000 last week, or actually touched $2,000. So after that major push all the way up to $2,000, we've seen some pullback finally on that that metal. But gold and silver and platinum all looking very good as we start off this Christmas week.
Yeah, now that's amazing. Now here we are. Now, any last minute Christmas gifts, of course, you can stop into William Youngerman. They have an incredible collection of jewelry, of watches, and just great deals up there. What's your Christmas schedule week, William Youngerman?
Yeah, we'll be open just for a half a day on Christmas Eve. We'll be closed Christmas, and then we'll be back open on Thursday and Friday of this week.
Oh, okay. Wow, regular business but back at normal business hours the day after Christmas. Okay, all right. Listen. Give William Youngerman a call. Still time to get in that Christmas shopping. And I'll tell you, parents and grandparents, introduce to your children and grandchildren the precious metals by giving them the gift of a gold coin or even silver. Get them started in the metals so they'll have an appreciation for money, for investment, and of course the metals. William Youngerman's number, toll free, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. Online, WilliamYoungerman.com, and of course located in Boca Raton, immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow. All right. Take care. All right. Wow. Great news. Okay. Well, the show has flown by. But you know, what I was telling that last caller is so true. You know, Fred Phelps is the perfect example of this. Does anyone remember Fred Phelps? He was the very anti-gay pastor, minister, priest. I'm not priest, but he was like a minister of his own church. And he was on TV all the time. First time I saw Fred Phelps, he was on the Ricky Lake show. Shows you how far he was big in the 90s and early 2000s. And what he would do is he would go to the church, or he would go to the funerals of people who died of AIDS, and he would protest their funerals. And he was a very anti-gay pastor. And the left made this humongous character out of him. And I went to a memorial service for the guy from the Real World San Francisco who died of AIDS. And I went to a memorial service at Miami Beach because I was a fan of the Real World. And Fred Phelps showed up. And he came with his congregants. There were less than a dozen of them. And they come out, they start yelling all the anti-gay slurs, and the TV cameras surround these 10 people, 12 people, and they put it on. Look what happened. Look at this protest, 12 losers. And the reason they made a big to-do, the media and the left, about Fred Phelps is they had a narrative that Christians were anti-gay, and they made him very important. He was a guy that had a church that was made mostly up of family members, okay? And they do a similar thing today with anytime they can find someone that's a white nationalist, they always call them right-wing, and there's nothing right-wing about them at all. Nazi, right-wing, not. The Nazis were socialists. The Nazis were the National Socialist Workers' Party. Okay, they weren't right-wing. But the media will always portray racist as right-wing because they got a narrative and they want to connect you to that. Now, a lot of times these guys will find themselves involved in politics because they want to make a name for themselves and want to get publicity, and the way they do that are these different things. But do not fall into that trap. You know, and and I remember when President Trump first started running, and it was a Saturday or a Sunday morning. I can't remember which, but I know it was the weekend because I was at home in the morning, had the news on, doing some work around the house, and David Duke was on in studio on CNN, and he was wearing a blazer that was about 2 or 3 sizes too big for him, that I guess they loaned him in the dressing room or something. So he looked, you know, and all of a sudden I'm hearing about David Duke for the first time in like 15 years. You know, and David Duke wants to get on television, so he gets on television and he tells CNN what they want to hear. He agrees with Trump on immigration. That, you know, they're tools of the left-wing, Trump-hating media, and they are not right-wing. Please do not fall into that trap. I had a couple clips here I was going to get to, but I think I kind of run out of time to get to the clips, so maybe I'll play some of those tomorrow. I had a pretty good one with Brian Stelter, but we're all out of time. So far as, you know, playing the clips and being able to discuss them. Our schedule this week is we're here, obviously, here today. But we'll be back live tomorrow, and definitely back live on Friday. We'll be off Wednesday, Christmas, the day after, probably off. But certainly we'll be back live on Friday. Friendly Tire is open every day this week except for Christmas. So Friendly Tire is open today. They're open on Christmas Eve, and they're going to reopen the day after Christmas, just like William Youngerman's opened up, normal business hours the day after Christmas. And Friendly Tire also will be open Saturday. So they're open every day this week except Christmas, in case you're wondering. A lot of people are off work this week, and this is the time when they take care of such things. So it's a good time to go and check in with Friendly Tire. Steve will be back tomorrow, and Steve and I, we're going to be announcing this soon. I don't know if we'll announce it before the new year or not, but there's a new project that Steve and I are working on that we're going to introduce to all of you very soon. I don't know if we'll do it this week or wait until after the first of the year, but we do have a new project we'll be telling you guys all about, and coming up, so stay tuned for that. We're always working on stuff around here. I gotta tell you, we're always working on stuff around here. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow at 6 a.m. Take care.
Did you know that your skin is your largest...
All right, guys, if you don't, subscribe. All right, appreciate it, guys. And I'll see you guys, if not later today, tomorrow. All right, take care.
Cancer is vital.